It's that time. What time is it? It's time for the top 8 of Fright Night number 12. Our competitors fought through some grueling competition yesterday in the Swiss rounds to leave us with a mere 8 players standing. And they're going to duke it out. We're going to find out who is the champion of Fright Night number 12 today. So let's get into it. Before we actually get into everything, and I'm going to show the brackets shortly, I do have to let everybody know that I am, of course, part of the Content Affiliate Program. That means that the Phobies team does, in fact, give me coffee for producing Phobies content, and they are, of course, providing the prizes for this event. If you're interested in playing in Phobies tournaments, hit up the Random Slots Discord. The link for that is going to be in the description of this video, right by the like and subscribe button. Got to get those in there while we can, but let's take a look at the bracket. Hit the wrong button. I'm a little blocked by this, so I'm going to lean a little bit this way. So we do have our 8 players. You can see over here, right over there, how the bracket's going to play out. As mentioned earlier, the Swiss rounds were yesterday. The top 8 finishers were then seeded into this bracket according to their placement in the Swiss rounds. We did have some incredible games that I looked at last night on stream. You can check out the VOD for that on the Twitch page. Of course, like that is also in the description. There were some wild things that happened, including a natural draw. The players actually drew in the game. I'm not going to spoil who it was, but it did happen. So we have A. Markin versus Kuro, Shinra versus Potenzia, Gabara versus Victor, and of course, Master Dark versus Raphael. Now, I mentioned a few names there that probably don't line up with exactly what you're seeing there, but we're kind of doing a little mix and match action. Whew. Still early. I'm still working on my coffee chat. Shout out to Wawa. Hashtag not sponsored. But we're mix and matching the names a little bit, in-game names versus their Discord names / whatever they signed up with. It's always an amusing in a very frustrating way. People they're never consistent. They'll sign up with one name on Challenge, have another name in Discord, change it, and then have a third name or a fourth name in Phobies. So it is challenging to try and corral all the players to make sure that we have all the coordination that we need for the events. So I'm trying to situate myself here so you can see the bracket and me, because of course, I gotta be seen. So I'm just watching the players get set up. They are getting their games, the bans for each of them underway. As we've done in the past, we're going to do the round of 8 simultaneously, so we're not going to be able to observe all the games. All right, we do in fact have bans and picks for the maps. We're going to be jumping in shortly into the games themselves, see what the players have. Now, of course, these are untimed rounds. We can't have draws in a single elimination format. So everything's on the line, and we're going to see who takes it down. So we're just going to wait for the UI here to update. I'm going to keep an eye on Discord chat to see what happens here. And we're probably going to do the pop in, pop out thing a little bit just to try and force the UI to catch up with our speedy players. Get a little hydrate action. Mix in the water to go with the caffeine. And let there be carnage is right. Of course, the players are going to take a break. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Oh, the logistics of running an event, chat. Everybody needs a potty break the second that they're supposed to start. All right, attempt number 2. We'll repeat everything that we had since we did have an early game crash between these two players for game number 1. This is, of course, a regame of game number 1. This is Lord Shinra's map pick, Teen Spirit. Morbidity, Pluto, like and subscribe, and Mysomania struck from the pool, at least for this particular match. And match, yes, of course, these are best 2 of 3 as opposed to the Swiss rounds, which were best of 1. The players are going to have to earn that win twice in order to advance to the next round. I'm keeping an eye on Discord because I'm wondering if it was another game crash here. Nope, there we go. Okay. I was a little worried for a second. It looked like Shinra had disconnected once again, but in fact, they did not. Maybe there was a little bit of connectivity issue, but we are, in fact, moving on. We made it farther than the first time, chat. We made it past turn 1. Whoa, I'm not going to lie. If you had asked me what phobies did I predict I was going to see in this game, Unbearable would absolutely not have made this list. Unbearable, often a terror at the lower ranks. 375 damage, of course, a lob. Fairly tanky, especially given the undead life leech. A much more standard opener. Admittedly, Electric Cat's a little strange, but adjust my volume real quick. Oh no, not like this. Due to the Electric Cat, if this was Contortio, this would probably be a dead Tickles. But Tickles, of course, one of the tankier 1 keys, able to tank all this damage. Gravedigger coming down to do a little bit of remodeling here on Teen Spirit. Now, the slow approach from this Unbearable means that most likely this cat is going to live. Oh, maybe not. The Cowbell does, in fact, come down, and we're going to get a trade here because presumably we're going to see this Unicorn stick it out in order to eliminate the Cowbell. There's really no reason for it to retreat, and there's no way for Potenzia to get something in here to body block, which why would you do that anyway? Let the 1 key subside. So we're getting triple 1 key Unbearable into a little bit sturdier of a team, but this will allow for our blue player to bank into something more impressive than what is already existing on the board. Oh, no, we're not. Was there a Miss Tickles hit there? Got a bunch of undos, but looks like it may have only just been a stray Tickles hit. So, of course, as mentioned, Korn lights up Cowbell's world. That Cowbell's going to need a prescription, and I guess it's for more Cowbell. I don't know. That didn't really roll the way I wanted it to. But instead, we get an aggressive push, somewhat aggressive push here from Shinra. Of course, this will probably get eliminated, the Tickles, in conjunction with... Nope, we're not going to get it because Lord Shinra identified that the Unbearable plus the Tickles would, of course, eliminate the cat, and then this cat could replace. Now, you could end up trading again, but our orange player is down 1 keys at this stage, so they aren't necessarily too excited about getting into that exchanging war. Instead, we're going to bring in Bow Mangles for a little turret support here. And we get a little Hevo action going heavy into the lobs. I can appreciate it on this map, but I am getting a little concerned for our blue player here with the lack of Terraform. Without the ability to reshape the map in your favor, over the long haul, as I like to say, Shinra has more buttons to press. If you notice, it's not just traps, although the Tickles, of course, is going to eat 1 if it happens to have been placed here. You also have the option to Terraform, not just reshaping the map on your side, but also potentially cutting off your opponent's movement lanes. An obstacle here, or an obstacle where Unbearable is, or even an obstacle here in this empty space, will protect those panic points from the blue player. So it looks like we are going to get this 1 key trade because, of course, this cat's not long for this world. This cat will then flip the panic points back in favor of our blue player. And in preparation for that, Shinra is going to go ahead and bring out their own Cowbell. I've got a fever. Give me that prescription. Well, we did say the prescription for the dead Cowbell would be more Cowbell. I didn't say which side it was going to be coming from. Get a little random toy action showing up in the middle of the game, obscuring what's going on, naturally. One of the more recent, probably, I think it is the most recent channel point redemption I have here live on the Twitch stream. I'm out of coffee, chat. I need more caffeine. Ooh, for everybody who's been playing since the beginning of the game, You probably recognized all of these phobies, but if you had taken a break for any length of time, you may not have noticed or known about the inclusion of Tooth Fairy. The witching hour has in fact begun. Look at that smile. Look at that. Look at this adorable smile. A smile only a mother could love. Tooth Fairy coming out. A flying dimensional. Think of it as a more consistent murder wing. You don't have the explosive damage of the meatball, but of course you push more regular attack damage. So, again, a more steady effect. We're continuing the rampage against the buildings. It looks like a Godzilla movie in here. That's what they say about my smile? Oh, no. He just wants your teeth? Yeah, that's all. I just want your teeth. Yeah, that's not unsettling in any way, shape, or form. We got a one-mover on our blue side, 2 one-movers on our orange side. Players are content to trade keys, but here's the thing. Potentia is at 2 keys available for this turn. At max, a bank to 5. And chat is a little bit ahead of me in where I was going with this. There are 8 keys. What costs 8 keys, you might ask? There's a few phobies. I mean, there's High Five. There's Russell. But let's be real, chat. I think we're about to see the big boss man come down off the top rope and start putting some people on the unemployment line with a little "you're fired" action. I don't love this. However, what this is going to drive is that Potentia can't necessarily stay to do a whole lot, because if they do, they're going to get caught by "you're fired." They're going to just get hooked. Quite simply. Oh, wait. Was the boss just a bluff? Was the boss just a big bluff? Are we going to see something different now? Nope. It is, in fact, the boss man. Boss man coming down. Just a quick rethink about the positioning. Looks like we're reapplying where the damage is going, instead putting it onto Tooth Fairy. So again, if Potentia decides to stay, they're in trouble. There's a big risk of getting "you're fired." And, yeah, it's not going to end well. Now, are we going to see the Bachelor come in to clean out? Ooh. Yeah, we're going for it. We are going for it. In fact, that is a dead bow. Now, here's the thing. With this particular positioning, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge in order... Okay, never mind. I should just wait until the turn's over, chat. We'll see what the players actually decide to do. What I was going for is that maybe a challenge to get the 3 phobies, Tooth Fairy, Unbearable, and Hevo, hit with "you're fired" because of the way the positioning works. But now that's no longer a problem. Instead, we see a common... becoming more common response to boss in the form of Honey Bear. I did put out a video recently where we saw another player try and utilize Furnace Face in order to counter a boss on Locker Room Funk, but here on Teen Spirit, it's going to be Potentia going with Honey Bear in order to suppress the flames. But it doesn't matter. There's an angle. There's an angle here. And that's a "you're fired" that's cooking everything. Of course, the mud cannot land on the obstacle, but fire can. So we see a dead Bachelor. We see the Tooth Fairy about to get cooked. Unbearable, still in range of this boss, able to counterattack. But it's getting fried. It's getting fried, and of course, the smell of burnt metal. We are saved from that thanks to the Honey Bear puke. If there's fire there on the obstacle, then Honey Bear uses the ability, the fire still goes out. Yes, but it, unfortunately in this case, yeah, the way the sequencing worked out, not in favor of our blue player. The advantage, of course, is going to our orange player. There are a few technicalities with how some of these abilities play out. Now, I have to wonder if the Unbearable was a preemptive boss counter from Potentia, because it is fairly tanky. It is going to take some damage here, but there isn't a huge amount of pressure onto it. Of course, it can get poisoned, but it will have the ability to leech. And Shinra's down to 5 keys, Potenzia with 3. Chat was predicting a Hydra. No Hydra. At least not out of Potenzia, that's for sure. So we did not see Boss Gonzo. We did not, in fact, see Boss Gonzo here, which is the terror of many ranks. All up and down the ladder, you see Boss Gonzo, you are not happy. Unless it's on your side, of course. But here, this doesn't look like a terrible position for Potenzia. Until that happened. Of course, maybe there was a slight miscalculation here with Terraform still being available, and oh no, is that... That's Henrietta finishing off the Hevo! Not like this! Who said that poison doesn't work against mechanicals? Well, the game says poison doesn't work against mechanicals, but we're going to pretend that it worked here. A Henrietta comes in, just slaps the ever-living crap out of that Evo. Boom, coming out of our orange player. Of course, the boss is still at 800 health, and the way this is set up, this is actually a very difficult position to get at the boss. Not impossible, though, and I was about to say, Jar has just enough range to get there. Because guess what? You get a little concrete ball to the dome piece, and then shout out to Onda. Boom! Dropping the big boss man to the mat. 3 count, he's down and out. And then there were 2 big boys, 2 thick boys. We got Unbearable, we got Honey Bear, and we got 4 keys. 4 keys for Shinra. Chat, did Potenzia crack the boss puzzle? Did it happen? I think it might have happened. It might have happened, chat. Panic point advantage, long range in the jar, 2 other ranged phobies. You could even puke on the panic points in order to prevent Shinra from even having a panic point available. Poss Buzzle? Did I say that? I may be stumbling over my words. I think Ice Cream would work here for Shinra, but he didn't have it. Maybe. I mean, obviously not available both collection-wise and keys-wise now, but we'll see. Now Honey Bear can just keep covering Panic Point with Mud. Ooh, we're getting an aggressive... I don't know about this one. Is this... 2,600 health. So there is a chance that if Potenzia takes that line... Okay. Yeah, chat is with me here. The greed is real. The greed is real. And in this case, greed is not good. That, because not only could there have been a trap down there because of the unicorn hanging out down there by the bottom of the map for a very long time, everything was in range to just kind of light the Unbearable up. It probably would have led to the demise of our blue player. But instead, we're getting a big push from Shinra. 1 key remaining. That's an AWOL. I do like the idea of the AWOL here. Even though it's super fragile, it in fact does require 2 jar hits. Or even 2 Honey Bear hits, notably. Okay, we're not going with AWOL. Never mind. Get a little Numbskull action. I kind of like this better. I'm not a huge fan of Numbskull or Slayer, but in this case, you probably want something tanky. Ooh, the one-shot. This is bold. So you do get the takedown here. You, of course, get a little life leech, but there is a strong chance there's a trap here. If there's a trap here, that means... There's no trap! There's no trap! Chat, there's no trap. There's no chat. There's no trap, chat. That's a pretty good play. Yeah, the takedown here, it's risky. Of course, this would have died if there was a trap. But there, in fact, is not. There's still pressure on Shinra's heart. 2-0 panic point advantage. It's possible that Potenzia throws this, but it seems like this one's kind of in the bag, chat. Stabby, of course, another nightmare for many, many players up and down the ladder. But I'm not sure that it's getting it done here. I'm not sure that it's getting it done here. Honey Bear, of course, making the push. We got 1,400 health on the heart. This is ball game. There's just no way to stop this offensive. And I think we're going to be looking at a game 2 with Potenzia up 1-0. In fact, there was a trap. Was this the throw? No, I don't think this is going to be a throw. You can certainly kill the jar, but there's no world in which you're going to kill this Honey Bear in time. Honey Bear is just going to bear down on the heart. And do what tardigrades do. They survive, chat. The ball game goes to Potenzia. Game 1. Might as well check in on the other game in the meantime, or one of the other games in the meantime. We're looking at Kuro and A. Markin here. I believe this is game 1. It was A. Markin's map pick. I don't have the bands in front of me at the moment. But 0 keys is 0 keys. This does look like a rough spot, in fact, for our blue player. We may have come in close to the end here. It's looking like it's Innocuous versus the world. And, yeah, that's going to be a tough spot, given there's a Stabby on the other side of the board. Burrow going out honorably, taking down the Crushmore, but of course the retaliation here will be more than enough to remove the red quadrupod from the board. GG. Here we go. Shinra's map pick of this might sting a little. Shinra versus Potenzia. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what we've got. This is going to be interesting, this map pick. Of course, we are in game 2. Potenzia up on game 1 through Teen Spirit. Now, we had the boss counter come down. It was definitely a very tight game, but very well played. We're getting a somewhat more unique opener. I need more caffeine, chat. The whole, like, orating thing, not going well at the moment. Shinra with the unique opener, as in can opener, I guess. I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind. So the rest of the cerebral area is not working very well either. With the creep, this has become more and more common in order to push away like a potential snowball or something else that comes rushing in. Of course, threaten undead and dimensionals at various points. And it can get a range spit here off of the stim. 550 damage. Remember, everything's at level 1. So that damage is much more significant than it might seem ordinarily. I love how this map is pretty loved but got banned a lot. The bans are interesting because remember, it's always about not what maps do I like, but what maps am I going to win on? Or what map gives me an advantage? And it isn't simply, I like this map, so I play it and I have fun. It's a tournament. You're trying to win. And in this case, the winning strategy for both players seems to be roughly the same. We're getting Crushmores, breaking this early near vault obstacle, which is not something that I personally love to do, but both players are leaning into it. So let's see how it works out for them. You practice with Potenzia a bunch? Nice. Got their training partner, Toasted Toast. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to have to make a note to myself to set up the bit donation thing in case others may want to follow in your footsteps. We'll have something cool pop up like I do for the for new subscriptions. I've talked about it before. I'm not sure whether to put follows on there because I don't like it when people do it. I don't like it, but I do call out people's names as a thank you, so it's kind of like I might as well have something pop up on screen. We'll see. On the to-do list. So we're getting a 2-0 panic point advantage here for Potenzia. The poison here is notable, and I've had this conversation actually the other day offline about how weak of a mechanic poison is. But on this particular map, and of course when everything's set at level 1, so that the ratios of HP to damage line up the way that the devs intended. When you're on ladder and it's just, hey, I way out level this person, or I am way out leveled by this person, you kind of just get bodied independent of whether a phobia is good, bad, their strategy's good or bad. But when it's all set to level 1, and of course we have some of the best players in the game competing in these tournaments, it means that a lot of these nuances that may be obscured by the leveling system now come to the forefront. Because all of a sudden, this 120 poison damage will add up pretty quickly when it's multiplied by being applied to a dimensional. Now, we, of course, are getting what we're getting what's quickly becoming a signature move for Potenzia. We're getting a werewolf. This is one of my favorite ultra rares. I can't wait to unlock it. The good boy themselves right up there with Snowball. Who's going to get upset with some puppies, right? You got to love the puppies. Poison is weak. Finally, someone understands. It is a weak mechanic. It just is. It is worse than just doing the damage. And the main crux of the argument that we're discussing, when I say argument, it wasn't like we were screaming at each other, but like an argument as in we were disagreeing and comparing notes, was surrounding Poison Ivy. And in my opinion, if Poison Ivy didn't do poison damage, but instead just did more damage on its trap equal to the poison damage it's applied, it would still pretty much be just as good. It would be worse against dimensionals. It would be better against mechanicals. The point is that you do that explosive damage. The existence of healing spas and other healing phobies, especially since things like Bluelian are so overstated, it really negates most efforts into the poison realm. But here, like I said, at level 1, look at this. This is already in range of dying in 2 turns. I think the goal here was that Shinra wanted to try and set up this Tooth Fairy to die immediately from the poison. Of course, the numbers don't work out that way. So instead, we're going to get a 3-to-1 panic point advantage. We'll see whether the Snowball cousin decides to slide here into the corner, or if it's going to immediately get involved. Get our pot shot here onto Crushmore. Soften it up for a later turn. Tooth Fairy forced to retreat. It will not tank another hit from Crushmore. Hence why the good boy has to slide in for support. This will push away Crushmore or risk its demise. And we'll see what happens from here. I installed this game a few days ago. Well, welcome. And I got a unit called Tiny Tim. Ooh, gotta love a little Tiny Tim action. If you want, can you tell me if that's a unit worth upgrading? Tiny? That was weird. I was looking at chat. I didn't see what phobia that was, and I've never heard it make that noise. Yeah, Tiny Tim is not the most popular phobia. It does have niche value on specific maps. I commonly see it on, say, Vile Vortis, because it can take the bottom center panic point, and it is virtually impossible to remove. But yeah, as Onda's pointing out, I would absolutely recommend hitting up the official Phobies Discord. Karst has put in a lot of effort for building out new user guides. Now, I am of course, part of the content affiliate program. They do give me coffee for hosting the events, doing content, etc. But yeah, Karst would definitely help out a lot. You could hit up my Discord. There's always people talking about phobies there. ! Discord in chat. But yeah, as far as Tiny Tim goes, there's value to it, but it is more of a niche phobia. And there it is, chat. We get the big boy. The big good boy going in. Creep did connect, as we were talking, onto this Crushmore. This poison will be relevant. 375 damage for 4 turns will result in the demise of this Crushmore. But there's a lot of pressure here onto our orange player. Hevo 2.0 and Gonzo getting added to Shinra's forces. And I'll be honest, I don't like Potenzia's odds here. This is going to be difficult. You kind of need to pull this back to heal. A muffin would resolve the issue, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was great timing on the poison because you can't add anybody to the team here. So Potenzi is going to be aggressive, trying to sacrifice this Bachelor, presumably in order to make sure that you free up some space. This is always the danger. When you overextend and max out your team, it inhibits your ability to respond to your opponent. So we're getting the great rearranging here, but Potenzia, you can tell, very uncomfortable, very unsure of themselves. And we're, of course, risking just Evo coming in and lobbing on stuff. The boop is down, so they're not going to be able to displace something, say, into the abyss. But it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Potenzia is fine, just needs to anchor with a flyer like Puff or Beauty. I don't know if Potenzia has access to either of those. A Blom effect really is the bigger advantage there, although, of course, both Puff and Beauty fly, meaning they can get to this stim pretty quickly. They're not under a ton of pressure from like a panic point perspective, but it looks like we're going to get a takedown here. Maybe not. Realizing they don't actually need the damage from the Gonzo. That's a dead Crushmore. Trading creep for Crushmore, I think most of us take that trade all day, every day. Okay, I was about to say, you're not really going to leave that on the lava, right? This was a pretty solid push here from Shinra, able to take the panic point, flipping them into our blue player's favor, maintaining the Gonzo threat. The big problem here is pretty soon this boop is going to be live again. The boop is going to be live again. I was about to say we have the option for bees, but in fact, it's dial, chat. We get a little dial action. I actually really like this. The pressure is on, and dial, as opposed to a win more phobie, dial is kind of a solidifying phobie. It's going to put your opponent in some very uncomfortable positions because whatever their best phobie is, you're going to make sure that its viability, its usefulness, halved, quite literally. Thanks to Stay Tuned, you're going to reduce that phobie's ability to interact with the game, and in this case, that's effectively turning one of these phobies off. What if we had a phobie that levels up as a passive after doing X things, with a cap on how many levels it can go up by? I don't know what that gets us. I'll be honest, I don't know what advantages that gets us. Honestly, yeah. A little anticlimactic there, but I think Potenzia, as a very strong player, did absolutely recognize what was going on. As Chad is pointing out, there was really no realistic way for Potenzia to challenge what was going on at that point in the game. Really pushed back onto their heels. It happens sometimes. GG. So we'll jump into, speaking of this might sting a little, we're going to jump into one of the other games that's going on. We'll come back to Game 3 once the players get that squared away. We're just going to take a peek here at A-Markin versus Kuro. We do, in fact, see the beauty that was mentioned, 10 keys remaining to 17, and we have the Armada. It is 100% flyers here for our orange player. It's something that I actually like. It's something I actually like. Is it going to work out here? It doesn't seem great right now, but we do, in fact, get one land-based phobie, and that is going to be... It's going to be Hevo 2.0. Sorry, just clarifying for the other players what's going on. All right, need to do some admin stuff, so I'm going to have to leave you for a second, chat, while we're getting this squared away. Right, let's see here. Just got to linking the players to what's going on. Where is it? Which room? I always like to link the players because I have all the rules written out already in Discord, so that way they can always reference it, and it's easier to just link people what they need to do. So there we go. We're coming back with Flying Gaming. Let's see what's happening here. I don't think I missed that many turns. I was squaring it away. Burrow adding one of the oft-maligned phobies. I'm explaining everything to people over again. All right. So with the beauty here on the stim, this of course threatens the heart for any time that this panic point gets flipped. And since it is in favor of our blue player, our orange player is of course going to have to get engaged and risk something terrible happening. The boop for a Markand is kind of on the other end of creation, but both boops are down. So if you're wondering, this Hevo cannot come in and target this to get a free kill here onto Hevo 2.0. Chat, we may have to come back to this one. We are getting a game 3 going. We want to complete the trifecta for the other series we were watching. Here we are, game 3. It's Red Rum. In the blue corner, we have Potentia. Maybe starting with the Sucky. And in the orange corner, we have Lord Shinra X. Let's see what happens here, chat. This is, as I mentioned on many occasions, my first most hated map. And it's not because the map was bad, or the map is bad. It was because I just played poorly. I just played poorly on this map very frequently, very commonly. So we're going to see how these players, now with way more experience than I had at the start of the Phobies career, I guess we'll say. Way more experience, way better players. We'll see what happens here. Starting off with a little Turret Gaming, the ever classic. I would have been more interested to see the Sucky opener. Honestly, Sucky as an opener here isn't bad. Super tanky, has the life leech, able to stand in front of even tankier turrets, and then allow you to control space, control the middle of the board. And that, of course, leads to panic point control, which hopefully leads to a W. But Shinra, with a certain amount of internal debate, and to be honest, I like the audible to this opener. You get early panic point control. It's going to be a little challenging for Potentia to try and claim these points. Honestly, I would have liked to probably have seen... Hey, with the subscribe, she's positive attitude. Welcome to this lunatic circus that is Random's Thoughts. Thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So we are getting a similar response from our blue player coming back to the game. Lots of 1 keys to flood the board and, of course, protect the bow. Or are we? Both players, of course, know that this is the game. We do need to get a winner out of this to advance, and the other player, they got to go home holding that L. They got to hold that L until the next tournament. When's the next one? Well, Fright Nights are typically monthly, but we do have a weekly tournament series, aptly named Monster of the Week. You can find the details for that in the Randoms Thoughts Discord. Link for that is in the description of this video, or if you're here on the live stream, !Discord. See how the segue works? It's just nice and smooth, chat. Trying. Bloat would have been amazing here. Corn trade's a little worse against the rush. I'm not a huge fan of Bloat, to be honest. If Bloat came out, Potenzia probably doesn't put Cowbell out there. I get the electrical versus Bow Mangles, but I've just generally been unimpressed with Bloat. Now, that is through a lot of ladder games, and as we were discussing earlier, ladder is a different beast. Ladder, for most intents and purposes, is a different game than what we're playing here with everything in level 1. We get a quick takedown here onto Cowbell. We get Tickles bopping, just running in with the headbutt on the enemy Tickles. And we're getting some mirrored openers here. Cassowaries for both players. And with the damage here, remember, level 1, this would have been 785 damage. Would have been a dead cassowary if it was even one space closer. Wouldn't Bloat be better against Inoculus on Red Rum due to the pseudo 2 range? Kinda, sorta. The issue is this. Because of the 3 range, you can sit so far back that, like, great, you hit one damage, or one strike, one attack. But the rest of your team, like, can they actually connect with it? Because otherwise, damage on that Inoculus only matters if it's going to result in a takedown. It's AoE, 300 AoE against 1-drop spam is basically a nuke, only if you can follow it up. And that's the problem, is what probably happens with a Bloat is if they have 3 1 keys and you have Bloat and 1 key, is you trade Bloat and your 1 key for their 3 1 keys, and it's a wash. They still maintain their Bow Mangles, and you maintain whatever your other thing is. So is it a way to answer it? Kinda, sorta. But I don't know that it ever really pushes you ahead. You're going to need something else in order to make that happen. Oh, one of the other series is 1-to-1 Kuro versus A. Markin. Bloat has huge HP. Kinda. Up to this point, like I said, we haven't seen it, and part of it is simply, what's the evidence for Bloat or any other phobie, for that matter, being of any value? And for the most part, if we don't see it, I think the logical conclusion is that the phobie is not good enough to justify it. Could Bloat have made an appearance? Possibly. But I have not seen Bloat do anything anywhere ever. To be honest, it's almost Rusty tier. So I'm not sure that if somebody can do it, I will believe it. Yeah, Bloat being super slow is part of the challenge. But speaking of things that are going to be challenging, Shinra's got to navigate this particular setup and not get boomed into oblivion here. You kind of... Oh, no. Yeah, you have to leap. Okay, so what they could do here is they... Oh, the leap is down! Not like this! No, this is not it. Yeah, that ain't it. It's still not good because this boom is going to come in. Secure takedown on both of these. Leap is... Waiting for the game to... Leap is available on Potenzia. This is looking bad for Shinra. Takedown here. Takedown on the Tickles. This is probably going to come in and clean up. Wait, really? Is the fear a trap here? is the fear that there's a trap down here, because you can boom here. This comes down and kills the, this, and then you leave them with tickles instead. But the priority here for our blue player is going to be tickles rather than killing the corn. Which is certainly a play you can make. There's an argument that, hey, the tickles is going to be here to soak up some damage. But that's certainly not going to live. We get a Wiggy and a Contortio to supplement the forces. 2-to-1 panic point advantage. I feel as though I would have personally prioritized the corn here. I probably would have prioritized the corn here. But again, maybe they were fearing a trap, and they thought that my cassowary is going to go down anyway. Corn is in fireball range. Tickles was not. Corn is also a significantly higher threat. Like, this cassowary didn't need to die. And then you just off the tickles later on. It's still a 1-key running around the board, which is obnoxious. But you didn't need to lose board position. I think you are left in a stronger position by maintaining the cassowary on the board. Because now you're going to have to expose something to die in order to kill the corn. Whereas the tickles, any point that it ever committed, it probably ends up dead. Now we are going to get a takedown here on the Murder Wing. Kills here. It may not ultimately matter since Potenzia was able to sustain a strong position to begin with. Wiggy the Goat. Wiggy is underrated, in fact. A huge amount of damage from... That's a nice ear you've got there. Be a shame if something happened to it. So we have cooked bat wings on the menu, folks. We have a follow-up unicorn coming in. This one's looking all but in the bag for Potenzia. If Shinra had the option to try and bank a little bit, maybe. They aren't under an enormous amount of pressure heart-wise. And of course, they do have a little bit of breathing room with Fireball down, but unfortunately they just don't have enough damage to quite kill this Wiggy without committing. As chat was pointing out, it does have some decent HP. Now we get a boom as a follow-up where Shinra's hoping for the boom Hail Mary in order to counteract the earlier boom from Potenzia. Little Henrietta action. We might see a bank of the 1-key trying to get, say, a Jin Sting on the board, help deal with some of the swarm that is showing up here. But in fact, this is going to be a dead creep. Creep trading for Bachelor here. Well, creep and boom trading for Bachelor and Contortio. Still a positive key trade in Potenzia's favor, and that's kind of been the entire story of this game, is that just slight incremental advantages for our blue player. AWOL getting added to the squad. Maxed out, but not for long. Yeah, Potenzia is looking to be in a very strong position at this time. Boom. Taking down the 1-keys. Is that enough? 5 keys remaining for our blue player. 4 keys getting sunk into that Jin Sting for our orange player. Offering up the Jin Sting early, maybe. No. Unfortunately, there isn't really an advancement path here for our orange player to be able to cap these points and not lose their whole team in the process. Remember, now Fireball is back online. Of course, AWOL representing a huge amount of damage for a 1 key, and the Unicorn's positioned to just eliminate whatever's necessary. It's certainly not unwinnable for Shinra, but this is going to be a tough spot. Stabby preserving 2 keys. How does Shinra get out of this? I don't think there's a singular 3 key that I like in this scenario. I think a 2 and a 1 like this makes sense. Having something tanky like this, or maybe a K9, for example, would be valuable. But instead, we're getting sucky Numbskull, which is going to force Potenzia to have to chew through a lot of HP, but it is going to be a very awkward engagement for Shinra to set up. You're going to have to rearrange your team in a really strange fashion to ensure that you don't just get clobbered. Ooh, we get the poison. This is aggressive, and I don't love it. Honestly, I think something like this is probably better. This allows you to more safely position and potentially engage. Of course, the Sucky does have a leap in Bloodsucker. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. With the 2 keys remaining, Potenzia can certainly win the 1 key trading war, set up their turrets, and say, all right, come at me, bro. In fact, we're not. Never mind. What do we got out of our blue player? Looking like Sucky is the... Oh, my God. They love doing this to me. Gesundheit. You know, I don't love Gesundheit in general. Here... I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to kill the Stabby and the Unicorn and not die to a counterattack from these 3. Because realistically, like, these 3 are going to represent a kill onto Jinsting. And then it's a matter of, are these actually contributing in a meaningful way? Shinra clearly has to get these advanced, but again, because of the 1 movers, like, you have to rearrange everything super awkward. Like, Jinsting probably has to end up here at one point. I guess. I think if you put Jinsting back here, that lets you get Numbskull into the position that Jinsting is in and saves you a little bit of time. Now the Jinsting is exposed. I don't think it can die. There just isn't quite enough damage, but even that singular hit, now it's in range of dying to 3 attacks from almost anything on the board. You kind of need to preserve that HP, so I would have loved the Jinsting to be in a more defensible position initially. Is this going to be enough to ruin our orange players' plans? I'm not sure. I'm also not in love with the idea of this Henrietta moving back, because now it can't come in to help clean this up. You're going to get a bunch of damage, but you can't kill the AWOL. You can't connect with the Henrietta. You can't connect with the Numbskull. I think this was just a slight positioning error from our orange player that's going to cost him the game. Because now you're forced to almost back off entirely because you can't engage. You're going to lose everything. Well, everything but maybe the Numbskull. Yeah. It is a tough spot here. 800 health, Jin Sting representing 500 here alone. The Jin Sting's dead. Or maybe it's not. I was going to say you just slide this down and swing Snowball into it, but this is also a way to do it. Henrietta, probably, no, not going to tank it because you still got attacks left. And then there was Numbskull. And then there was Numbskull. Do get a pretty solid AoE, but I'm pretty sure Numbskull is not going to go the distance. Potenzia looking like our winner, and in fact is, congratulations, advancing on to the next round. This is also a Game 3 between Kuro and A. Markand Megalo. A map that I guess people have just not been a fan of. I don't mind this map too much. Ooh, we're getting a little Yeti action out of Kuro. Ooh, another 100 bits coming in from Sheesh Positive Attitude. Thank you once again. Let's go Potenzia, take it all the way. We'll see. We do have the fan club. Maybe it was chat's energy that got them over to the victorious side. This is a very interesting setup. Still 7 keys for A. Markand, but they are in fact locked out of them. I don't hate this call, the Yeti, because it does eliminate a phobie, but we're getting the yoink here from A. Markand. This is obviously most likely a dead corn. The question is, will the spider pay with its life as a result? This is 800 damage coming out of here. Maybe. Maybe. It's going to be close. Nope, A. Markand not going to go for it. Now, with the freeze phobie added to the squad for Kuro, we have not seen any fire phobies utilized by A. Markand. As you can see, only a cowbell has died thus far this game. Whereas on the other side, we have booming cowbell, so snowball is still available. Hevo 3.0 is, of course, locked out because only 7 keys. We'll have to see what else A. Markand has up their sleeve in order to combat a potential freeze situation coming in, because a freeze here on, say, the Stabby could actually be problematic. You get the double hits here. You can get a hit from Clinico. You can get a yoink and a hit from the corn. That's going to expose your team to getting annihilated from the counter attack. And, of course, the Yeti will probably tank it all. Sizzle. Sizzle is an option. I don't know if A. Markand has access to it. Sizzle would save the game for A. Markand. I don't know if I'd go that far, but let's go Kuro beat A. Markand. I think we have a clear favorite in chat right now. Chat trying to give them their energy. So they can't pull without losing the spider. I think that's an accurate statement. And I think that this puts A. Markand in a very weird position, because how do you advance onto this team? To be honest, it would be completely reasonable for Kuro to back off here and just do nothing. But instead, we are going to get the freeze. I do like this. This Stabby is effectively dead. Could pop Sizzle and Snowball, but has no room. Exactly. As we saw in an earlier game, you lock yourself out, maxing out. It's a really tough spot. But yeah, this is a great freeze. I love this play as well. It does give A. Markand now the opportunity, because the takedown was collected here on the jar. I almost would have rather seen the jar stay alive in order to just ensure that A. Markand is continued to be locked out of those 7 keys. Because the big threat here at this stage is the spider. And, of course, the follow-up. But what is the follow-up? What does A. Markand do to get out of this position? Kuro's going to have some time in order to shell the Stabby, but every loss here is crucial. No way to heal, and no reinforcements available for our orange player. Ah, baby. Who's the baby? Hi, good girl. Yes, I love you. The puppy's hanging out. What's the matter, baby? Who's the good baby? Buff only defrost that can make Stabby free. I don't... I guess, yeah. I think I understand what you're saying. So we are getting some activity going down in the north to damage the Stabby. A Markand elected to not advance any further Phobies onto the board, presumably in order to get that quick thaw. I don't know that I love this. Well, I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine if the erratic is somewhat exposed, because there isn't really a great way to punish it. You can get the pull, but what are you going to do? Hit it once with the unicorn? Like, all right, who cares? It's not significant. Heal going down on Stabby to preserve it definitely makes sense, getting value out of that Clinico. We're getting a sheep out of a Markand. This is not something I would have expected, but we do have erratic. Of course, many players subscribe to the idea that sheep is a great counter for it. I'll leave that up for you to decide. And, of course, there is Stabby, dimensional. Again, no healing, no spa. We're getting an invade here. Invade going in, giving a Markand the free pull, choosing to hit the spider with the Yeti, which would offer up the Yeti to get poisoned, but not enough damage here. That's only 800. 1,300 health, so 4, 4, and 4, 1,200 damage. Not sure I love this one. But we do get a takedown on the Stabby. The spare damage goes onto Kuro's Stabby. This is much better. I thought the Stabby had attacked twice, so that was my bad. Yeti cooldown being recharged. I don't like melee when Freeze is around. I think most players don't have enough experience with Freeze, to be perfectly honest. We get the yoink. Innocuous goes down. Stabby goes down. All of a sudden, there's only 2 Phobies on the board. Oh, is A Markand done it? 3 keys remaining. Ooh. That doesn't feel good if you're Kuro. That's a rough spot to be in, chat. Not gonna lie. We actually see an Eternal Night. Huge play is right. I need a button where it's like air horns or something. Brr, brr, brr. It's a big play alert. Yeah, that's a rough one. That one hurts in here. Ooh, a trap going down. Could that be the difference? 800 health. That is, in fact, a dead spider. Little womp womp action. It's true. Is there enough health remaining on this Yeti to really make a difference? The Yeti, 410 damage, a little bit weird number. A little bit of a strange number, but 600... Notably, the Yeti's not poisoned. But the sheep is going to be out of range of the erratic. Not enough to... I take it back. The freeze is live, chat. With a panic point advantage here, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Kuro to still do this. Yeti is going to die, but oh no. Never mind. 1 drop. Yeah, there were keys left. I didn't look at the keys. My bad. It's still dead. I was getting excited because I was going to say you can hit, you can freeze, then with it frozen and the hit, it means that the erratic could hypothetically take it down. Erratic in this position means nothing can get past it without getting lit up. There was a world. I guess it's not this one. It doesn't look like it's this one. Unfortunately for Kuro fans in chat, you got to pour one out. Press F, or press X. Pay respects. Hope A Markand lose. Well, it's a little late now, Master Dark. I don't think A Markand's losing this game unless every space on this side of the board is occupied with traps. A Markin, of course, going to play it safe. Don't want to risk anything. You're down to your final 4 Phobies. Some of them are damaged. You're at a panic point disadvantage. Got to be careful, but I think the Sheep Explosion here is going to be sufficient. Of course, the cat makes the big push in the north, and this will probably secure the victory almost more than anything else. 300 damage a turn, 600 damage a turn is worth 3 panic points. It's going to drop this Heart's health pretty quickly, and that assumes nothing else happens. There was, in fact, a trap here, but this erratic is poisoned. It's not going to be able to make the trek to claim the cat. Can't even quite finish the sheep. I believe, as they say, that is the ball game. Hey, Markin, debating. I don't know what's happening right now. Hey, Markin, I don't know if you know this, but you can't complete quests in this mode. You can kill the erratic with poison, but it doesn't complete a quest. I don't know what's happening. I thought about going boss, but I didn't really want to. I should have backed off. We missed the early part of the game, Kuro. Kuro, I think, recognizing what's going on. Griefing caught in 4K? Maybe. Did they just want the second sheep hit? I don't know what's happening here, but either way, GG. And with that, chat, I think we have our top 4 finalized. All right. In fact, we do have our top 4. A. Markin versus Potenzia. Gabara versus Master Dark. We, of course, observed some of these players in the round of 8, but those games were all getting played, not sequentially. They were being played simultaneously. These games are going to be played sequentially, so we're going to get to see all the games of the top 4 and finals. Now, the players are, of course, in the map, ban, and pick phase. We'll see what they're doing. Here we go. Potenzia going first, opening with a little Bo Mangles action. This was an A. Markin map pick. A. Markin banned Locker Room Funk and Morbidity, whereas Potenzia banned Like and Subscribe and Mysomania. Now, Potenzia was a little surprised at everybody banning Morbidity as I'm reading through the conversation between the players, which I don't know if I'm surprised by that. We were talking about it the other night, and I've said it earlier, that there's a difference between maps you like and maps that you can do well on. And sometimes it's better to limit your opponent's options because maybe either due to collection or play pattern or just map structure, it limits what you have to fight. And you don't have to worry about trying to respond to a surprise pocket strat on a given map. Red Rum has been around long enough that many people are very familiar with it. Bloat incoming? We'll see. We do have a similar opening that we saw before. Bo Mangles protected by an army of bodyguards that happen to be 1 keys. I think they like Red Rum. You could ban it and they'll probably go Megalo and choose Red Rum off, and it's possible. Potenzia is an expert at small maps. We'll see if that continues here. As pointed out earlier, there's a little bit of a rivalry. These players have met on many occasions before. Most of the players here have met on many occasions before, both on ladder as well as in previous Fright Nights. So there are tendencies to be noted from each player. Now, we get a somewhat aggressive positioning here from the Cassowary. I get the Electric Cat here, but I'm not a huge fan because odds are you're not just going to get to tee off on Bo Mangles. You're going to have to offer it up in order to slap an opposing 1 key. We get the Jar to finish off the Tickles. This allows a slap going down onto the bow, a big solid 420 damage. Aha, funny number. Potenzia being aggressive as always. We'll see if the aggression is rewarded here. Getting a repositioning from A. Markin, bringing the Stabby, almost said Tabby because there's 2 cats, bringing the Stabby, not a cat, up to the north, threatening this top panic point, and of course to rain down Pin Needle Hellfire onto the center points. The bank to 4 yields an Innocuous, very powerful on this and many other maps. When we get the push, we're probably going to see a 3-0 panic point advantage coming in here. Yep, get the walk away. Little repositioning from Bo. This allows for additional support in the north, because when the cat from A Markand replaces, if it does, it's now just immediately going to die. But A Markand is now under a lot of pressure. Triple panic point advantage with the Innocuous follow-up and some difficult to position 1 keys. Gravedigger is often neglected on this map, for better or worse, and that makes it a challenge in order to try and actually reclaim decent concaves. Wait, we have a Master Dark SH, and then we have Master Dark Shogun 666 in chat. I just realized this as I'm looking at it. Like, what is happening right now? I don't know if this is the, like, I hope these are 2 different people, because otherwise this is going to get weird. All right, we get a little Bachelor as a supplement. A Markand definitely considering their options here. Ooh, cutting it close there. Banking to 6. You do have a little bit of time. You don't have an eternity. I'm the real Master Dark. 4,400 health on the heart. You have some time to try and stabilize this, but Potentia now is going to have the opportunity to bank themselves, and they're supplementing with a 1 key, so the bank won't be as large, but this cowbell means that even when the cat replaces, at the very least, you're going to be able to reclaim a panic point advantage, maybe return to the 3 panic point advantage that you had had previously, and that even assumes that A Markand is willing to advance aggressively. Crushmore, we do in fact see the terraform. This opens up more surface area, more positioning opportunities for our orange player. But with 3,800 health, and of course, like I said, this cat is going to die, get replaced by the cowbell. That's 600 damage that's going to be coming in pretty quick. 800 technically. There was a play here, although the stabby is damaged, to instead swing the cat in, take the center point, use the stabby to continue to soften up Bo, and maybe even continue with the existing set of plays. But with 900 health, you wouldn't be killing the Bo. You can't take down the cassowary because it's out of range. It's very risky that you end up then losing potentially the cat and the stabby. But at this point, A Markand under a lot of pressure, 3 keys available, and 5 for Potentia. We'll see what comes down. I was going to say Contortio showing up, but that's seemingly not the case. Crush is interesting. Prefer Hematic and Grave next turn. I wouldn't hate that. Hematic, super tanky, obviously represents an enormous level of damage output. The break here doesn't seem to really give A Markand a whole lot, especially if you weren't going to move the corn here. You know, like, why put it in this spot right now? What difference does that make? $3K health. Boomer coming in to keep the pressure on, maintaining the panic point advantage. A Markand, I'm not sure how they get out of this, because they need to advance. They have to dive, and if it's not this turn, it must be next turn. Or otherwise, they're just, like, they've just fallen too far behind. Yeah, floundering a little bit here. Struggling a bit on Red Rum. Struggling a bit on red rum. Oh no, the corn is toast. Would have loved high 5 here. What? Oh, the bronies game. The bronies got to be game. This has got to be checkmate. Triple panic point advantage. Going to be at least a 2 panic point advantage. Admittedly, I think like literally everything is going to get bronied. But A. Markins, like, you must reclaim panic points this turn. You can't allow for a triple panic point advantage to exist and get bronied. Not quite enough damage here in order to kill the bow. Okay, so we had some undos in order to allow the bow to go down. Now, all of a sudden, Potenzi is in some trouble. Only Innocuous as their damaging Phobie. Was the brony a throw? Five Phobies locked in for a Markin. I don't love this Finnegan. I think I see a line that locks up the game for Potenzia, but I don't think they see it. I take it back. They see it. Do they? How much hard health? 1,800. And now with everything but the Contortio locked down, I'm not sure there's a way for a Markin to stop this. There is an option, and this is why the Finnegan came in, for anybody wondering. The Finnegan is here in order to body block, to not the body block, to boop, to stop the body block of the Stabia or the Contortio on one of these points. Now, what I think A. Markin should do is probably put the jar here. Or instead, like, they could just put the jar here, and now the Stabby can't be displaced. So the combination of these mean that something has to die in order for Potenzia to continue to shell the heart. Or you come after this Contortio, which is the more likely play, reclaim the point, and then try and push through panic point advantage. Boomer looking to lock in the Stabby. Honestly, I don't love this obstacle. I think if you were going to move the jar here, you don't need the obstacle because now these two are pinned. No, don't move the brony. Well, I guess you need the brony to claim this point. You could have claimed the point with the Contortio. It would have died, but then the Contortio can't claim it. You can still cook this Innocuous, though. Gonna take 400 damage across the next 2 turns, end of this turn and next turn, due to the panic points. Trying to block out this Innocuous, but you just kind of can't. 620 damage represented by the Contortio alone. Of course, Finnegan can also get in and this. So if we're looking at 400, that's 1,200. We're going to have it because of the Contortio a little bit more. Then we got another 650 coming in. I think this might be the ball game. Oh, we get the boop into the double hit anyway. What are you going to do? Game 1 going to Potenzia. GG. The Brony taking over the game and locking it up. Very well played. Very well played. But here we go. It is game 2 of our first top 4 match. A-Markin and Potenzia here on This Might Sting a Little. Let's see what the players have in store. We actually have a unique opener as compared to what we saw on this map earlier in the other series. A-Markin's going 1 key bank. What do they have in store with 8 keys? We'll have to find out. But Potenzia here is opening up with a little creep and werewolf action. Maybe the creep was anticipation of beauty. It does seem to become, or has become, a signature A-Markin play, especially on this map. Beauty, definitely a very strong play. Of course, we've mentioned before the Bloms. The Blom. You get a little eye laser beam with Behold, Behold Me. Witness me. Anybody remember that Mad Max movie? I didn't really like that movie. I thought it was kind of dumb. Honestly, I think my biggest problem with that movie was the sound. I had literally no idea what anyone was saying throughout the entire movie. Like, at all. My wife and I hated it. But anyway, the laser beam here, of course, off the stem, 725, or excuse me, 800 damage. 725 is the regular attack. Can plow right through something on the center point and tag the heart, as well as something defending on the other stem. But because of this also interesting opener from Potenzia, it's giving A-Markin the opportunity to claim a 2-0 panic point advantage. Little stabby action. Interesting stabby in the face of the creep. This is a favorite opener of mine, but personally I like the Puff opener. Well, for some of us, we don't have Puff yet. I don't know if A-Markin has access to it. Of course, everything being at level 1, even if your Puff happens to be under-leveled comparatively, you could just, you know, run it out there. Now, A-Markin banking to 7, of course, preparing for the inevitable poison from this creep. Because of their slow response, this is going to allow for this aggressive push from Potenzia, evening out the panic points. And a werewolf standing right on their doorstep with Daisy to support. I don't love the stabby. And we get an opposing Blom in Goon. Goon showing up to try and solidify the position with only 2 fingers. And that back finger does not even look like it's really attached. Not gonna lie. Morty incoming. Honestly, Morty would probably be pretty good here. Beauty's gonna take a bunch of damage, but it's going to deliver a bunch of damage. We get a Blom to take out the creep. Maybe not. You think Potenzia overextended? I'm not sure that's the case, because if these two do not die, and it could simply be like kill the Daisy, drop a Droney on its dome piece, but I don't see any way in which the werewolf dies. Droney or Morty or not. So if they don't die, this is just an enormous threat right here, and it is going to kill the Beauty. The Beauty will die if it stays here. So you have to pull it back to heal, presumably with a muffin. I don't think... I guess that's fine, putting it there. Ooh, we get a little Tooth Fairy action to continue softening up the werewolf. It's interesting that we've seen so many players elect to use Tooth Fairy over Murder Wing. But in this scenario, it makes a lot of sense. It's dimensional. It's going to not just inflict extra damage, but also make Potenzia think about the fact, like, hey, that werewolf might end up in the pit. That won't happen. If you go for it, you're going to kill it with Daisy, but it makes you think. Makes you think. Society, if we have a tournament mode where both players have full collections, I wouldn't hold your breath on that. Tooth Fairy seems more consistent, survive better, also creep is here. Yes. All valid reasons. Potenzia wasting no time claiming the stem and then immediately giving it up. Interestingly enough, A-Markin did not heal this Beauty yet. Had the opportunity, I would have liked to have seen the beauty get healed right away just so you don't have to worry about it? Why is creep censored? What are you talking about? It's not. So I don't know what you're talking about. We get a little backhanding from the werewolf. Is that enough? Very aggressive push here. Panic point advantage will be relinquished to our blue player shortly. We'll see what the follow-up is from our orange player. But this is a big threat. 5,400 health. The Blom is still live. You could get a Blom onto Creep and to the Werewolf. The Werewolf is going to transform soon. Like, can A-Markin punish here? Can A-Markin punish here? I'm not sure that they can. This is still a lot of HP to chew through. It's going to be very close. But you get some big AoE going down thanks to the beauty. Freeing up the stim is a big deal. Because now we get a little meatballage. You know, dogs do love table scraps, but probably not this spicy meatball. A-Markin, that question about being able to punish seems all right. I think A-Markin has successfully answered that question. Now, of course, we can get a return Blom from Potenzia, but now we're getting the Muffin that I feel like was this done to maximize the heal? Was that the reason? 75 health off a pristine 1,800. And we're getting matching Blinkies, chat. This is what I love about level 1s. What I love about level 1s, where you see these phobies that otherwise may not be showing up in your average game. Blue! Everybody loves to see blue. Is blue really what you want here? I'm not sure. Like, the positioning for the blue also seems a little odd. Get the Blom there. I don't know that you wanted the Blom like that. I guess it doesn't matter. Actually, this might be a little better because it pulls the goon out of position with respect to the stabby, so the stabby can't be used to take it down as easily. So now you're forced to... You get 2 hits with Blinky, but you still need another 600, so that means that you have to sync attacks in with the beauty. Like, the goon is still going to die, but you have to kill it in an inefficient manner. And now A-Markin, I don't know if A-Markin has access to... I think you needed to swing... Yeah, Stabby's got to go here, I think. Because I think you need to continue being able to advance Stabby. We do, of course, have a line attack here available. Cupcake, I don't know if A-Markin has access to Cupcake, but a Cupcake here onto the beauty would be pretty damn good. All right, the blue is going to connect with the Blinky. The power down here is 300. That's a significant power down. That's a significant power down. What other flyers could pop out for 5 keys? We've already seen Murderwing and Tooth Fairy. And Blinky's on the board, so Array? Ginsting's going to be the call. Noxious would actually be very strong here, potentially. You can't pop out and then vomit on everything. Got that warm-up going. But a Noxious would be a strong play. Unfortunately for A-Markin, the stim is now open. The stim is available as a play for something for our orange player to claim. Of course, this Tooth Fairy can come in and threaten some additional damage. As we saw on map 1, this is some very aggressive play from Potenza, and I really like it. It's putting a lot of pressure on a market, not giving them room to breathe, not giving them a chance to think. If you take your foot off the gas pedal at this point as Potenza, it could be the end of the game for you. So I think continuing to pressure is the route to go. Now, as mentioned, I did not love the Stabby positioning here. I think Stabby going here, or even better, Stabby just moving and sitting on the center panic point would have been better. Because at that point, they cannot dislodge the Stabby. They're just not going to be able to. And they're going to have to do it with additional follow-up. But the additional follow-up here is actually Gargles, and this is a big threat here. It could segment A. Markin's forces in a way that is extremely problematic. I'm assuming that's supposed to be Clopster, as opposed to Quabstu. I assume that's Clopster. So we do get the reclaiming of a single panic point. We're going to have to see a Droney in order to take down this Daisy, I think. Our blue player's Daisy probably needs to go stand on the stem. A Maggie could do it as well. Maggie may have been better. Okay, Daisy's going to take down the Droney. Daisy might be better only because it would Daisy survive? I think Daisy has 700 health at level 1. So instead of being solo taken down by the cat, assuming it's 700 health, it would require also a Blinky hit, meaning the Blinky hit doesn't go somewhere else. But instead, we're getting the follow-up Gargles in order to stave off the potential panic or stim claim. But it's still a 4-to-1 panic point advantage orange. This is pretty scary. Is Gargles going to go in? It's a tough choice at this point. Gargles is in there. It's not in there. Tiny Tim? Okay, Rambolina. Even still, Rambolina, we saw this in a game yesterday, I believe. Rambolina, notably, the 3 movement and, of course, the displacement. You may not be booping these things to their doom thanks to them flying. You can still get them the hell out of the way to clear the path. Takedown there on the Gargles. Ray claiming the stem. So this necessitates Potenza booping the Ray out of the way in order to get the Blinky onto the stem. 5 keys remaining for Potenza, 0 for A. Markin. Chat, this entire game has taken place on A. Markin's doorstep. The boop actually keeps the... Yep, you have to do it that way. Because the boop would have preserved the A. Markin advantage on the stim. That's actually a slap on Ray for I don't know what reason. That doesn't seem correct. Here's the thing. This is melee. Is there enough damage to even kill these two? 1850 on the health here. 750. Like, this is a lot of HP to chew through. Now, I think this is... We got Potenza just testing out some different boop combinations. This seems like the most appropriate one. You can't get a Blom here because you're not going to be able to target through the heart. Yeah, that one's not correct. We already went through this. With games coming down to the wire like this, you have to be absolutely sure about what you want to do. Noxious coming in. This does represent a ranged AoE threat that at 300 damage, it may come down to those 300 damage hitting the heart, chat. So we do get a Blom, just not the one we were expecting. It takes down the cat. You still have to remove this Rambo, though. Or at the very least, kill the Blinky and then put your Gargles into lockdown mode over the stim. Down it goes. Is Gargles going to lock down? No, it's going to punch. Probably because this is lethal, right? 450. It's in fact a dead Rambo, and suddenly it was only Noxious. It was only Noxious, chat, with the aggressive opener from our orange player. Very well played. But wow, what a defense. What a defense. Shout out to A. Markin. That was a showcase. GG. Well played. Wow. Chat. That was a game. We got a game 3. We got a game 3. Chat. I was sweating that one. But enough of that. It's game 3. Blue Trunks, Potenza. Orange Trunks, A. Markin. We're zoning in here on Pluto. This was the Potenza map pick. Is this going to be the one that carries the day? As Chad is pointing out, it seems like small maps are home base for our blue player. See if they can defend the house. What is A. Markin's response? This is a map that is often maligned by the community. The bean opener with Leech, I think there were a few that predated that. I mean, DT was pushing for Sucky back in, like, pre-full disclosure days, I think, on Red Rum. I don't know if they push for it here as well, but either way, Sucky openers have been around for some time, allowing for a lot of HPs to try and tank the early aggression. Let's see what we've got here. So we get the Bo Mangles follow-up from our... Or not. They always do this to me. They always do it to me, Chad. Always do it to me. So while we're watching this, I'm getting the other players ready. Getting the other players ready. All right. They're in that situation because they went Beauty and Stabby made it worse. Yes. Beauty was fine. Stabby, I think, was bad. But to your point, Sheesh, just because the player won doesn't mean that what they did was correct. It was just good enough. So they could still have made bad plays and were able to succeed despite that, which lends credence to the idea that the aggressive play by Potenza may not have been spectacular to begin with, because if there were suboptimal plays made and it was a good enough defense, does that mean that if the optimal plays were made that it would have just, like, it was never going to be in doubt? We'll see. So we're getting another aggressive push here from Potenza, and already A. Markin's on ropes. This is going to be a 3-to-1 panic point advantage with a mountain of HP from Sucky and Tickles, and then, of course, Jinsting threatening and Catasowary threatening attacks off of the stim, as well as Sucky. Like, everything loves that stim if you're on their blue player side. The follow-up is going to be Klepto. Is that a strong enough answer for our orange player? We're going to find out. We get the retreat from Corn. Obviously, as mentioned, we can get some leaps off the stim, followed up by attacks, and then probably a cleanup on the cat, leaving our blue player at a massive advantage if the Corn were to go down, so we get the retreat here. I'm having flashbacks. Claws killed my Stabby with a higher level Sucky, Ginsting, and Cat. Rough. Optimal play is Puff, in my opinion, but Beauty into 2.0 other anchor is my favorite. Fair. Fair. I mean, I don't know that Puff is the optimal defense there, but I'd have to go back and think. Like, I'd have to go back and look at the board state and the, like, the way the key counts work, because obviously your turn 1 is different because you don't have to bank as much, or even your turn 2 or 3 is different. It gets weird. But either way, Bloms are just great on This May Sting a Little, and I think they are just underrated in general across maps because a lot of people just plainly don't have access to them. So here's where things start getting really weird as player 2. Only 4 keys available for a Markin, so a Gravedigger could come down to open up additional space to move around, but this is a tough nut to crack. Without 4 keys, you can't Honey Bear here, which was a common response. You Honey Bear, it allows you to puke onto the stem, potentially a panic point, turn a bunch of stuff off, lock your opponent down a little bit so that way you can set up a push. Therefore, a Markin is actually banking. Going to 6, we'll see what they pop out today. Frosty Blom doesn't help on This Might Sting. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt. If you freeze 2 things, yes, it's not killing them, but it could be better than killing them. As we saw actually in an earlier A Markin game against Kuro, if you lock your opponent into their maximum phobies, and not saying that'll happen there, but if you lock them in and leave them on death's door, so you can just off them whenever you're ready, that's potentially better because then your opponent can't properly respond. You can bully their remaining phobies while chipping down their frozen ones. So Potenzia banking as well. Both players can tend to leave it at a 2-2 panic point setup. We are going to see the Honey Bear. Looking like a little repositioning here so the Honey Bear can get into a better position, because you want to, of course, puke where the Tooth Fairy is. So you need to actually get to this position, 1, 2, 3. Honey Bear will then allow you to turn off the panic points and the stim. It looks like A Markin did their homework. I don't have Pup, but I'd rather have Pterodactyl than Beauty. All right, now you're just being ridiculous, Kuro. I feel like you're just saying that to be contrarian. I do love Frosty. I need levels on it, though. Yeah, Frosty's, like, we watched that one Onda game. Shout out to Onda for submitting a loss. That was brutal. Fun fact, Potenzia tried Honey Bear Stall on this map until my Glob cracked it. Glob? Into Honey Bear? Okay. Terror is so meh. I like Pterodactyl on that map. Just because it's a flyer, it's powerful. There's a variety of things that it offers. I don't think I would go Pterodactyl over Beauty if I had access to Beauty. But so our blue player setting up to defend Tiny Tim. Is that the correct choice? Whoa, this is interesting from A Markin. Instead of choosing... Interesting. Instead of choosing to advance, because that would cause Honey Bear to be vulnerable, you could get hit by 2 hits here, 1 hit here, 2 hits here, and 1 hit here. Instead, turning off one of their own panic points, but deactivating the stim, going into the now signature A Markin play of Repeller, adding the 3 Ranger. I don't know that Potenzia can kill the Honey Bear here. This is 600. That's 1,025. So that's 1,375. 16. It'll be a little over 1,700 damage. It's not enough to kill the Honey Bear. Unless or no, it actually would have been because we would have had another hit from that. So we're getting the aggressive push. Oh, man, this is a tough spot. This is going to be a 4-0 panic point advantage, and that Repeller is not very healthy. Only 3 keys available on the defense for A Markin, and only 1 slot open. Notably, you can just pop something out on the vault and hit twice. Okay, wait. Potenzia pulled that back. Potenzia pulled that back. The repeller is annoying if they know how to use it. Take my word on it. A-Markin knows what to do with repeller. A-Markin has a little bit of experience with repeller. I think Potenzia was fearing the counterattack from the Klepto just splashing the hell out of their team, and I can respect that. Now that with the panic point deactivated, this gets a little more challenging. There's only surface area for 2 melee attacks here, so either Tiny Tim or Sucky or Cassowary, only 2 of those 3 can connect with it. And of course, less attacks from the range means that this Honey Bear can safely advance. And now Potenzia is locked into their 5 Phobies as well as A-Markin. However, A-Markin has a 1 key that they can willingly sacrifice. You don't really just want to throw away the Phobies that Potenzia has. 6 keys for each player. One of these 2 is likely going to bite the dust soon, possibly the Tooth Fairy, because you're going to need to free up a spot to get access to your remaining 6 keys. Yeah, I agree with chat that the 1 movers are going to cause some problems for A-Markin unless they get a Terraform online. But once again, those are locked behind 6 keys that are completely unavailable at this point. And I don't know that you want to go Crushmore, even though Crushmore, Repeller, as Chad has pointed out on previous occasions, previous Fright Nights, previous Monster of the Week, previous A-Markin games we've observed, it's kind of become one of their signature plays. Oh boy, we're getting the invade here. It's going to be a Repeller boop to back this up if this play sticks. But this is certainly a risk. Cowbell going in. Again, the Cowbell is probably a sacrificial lamb. You get a boop that connects with 4 out of 5 Phobies. Is this enough to keep the Honey Bear alive? You're going to get 1 hit, 2 hit, plus stim, plus another melee hit. This is probably a Honey Bear that lives. I think I would have liked to have seen the Klepto replace where the Unicorn is, because the Klepto likely would not have died here. There might be a world in which the Klepto could die, but I don't think it's this one. So the Corn goes down. The Cowbell's going to go down. Was this a good enough play? I don't think this was worth it from A-Markin simply because the Klepto is not going to get a great connection. Of course, Potenzia just debating what the ideal play is here. The Tiny Tim does offer a target for the Klepto, but of course, taking less damage in the process. I think Potenzia takes the trade. Yeah, I think this is a positive trade in Potenzia's favor. And realistically, if... So this would have leaped off of Stim, so that's 7 plus, we'll say another 7, 14. So it would have been a dead Klepto, because you get double Stim hits because of the leap effect. And then the follow-up from Ginsting and Tooth Fairy means that the Klepto dies. So you are kind of stuck no matter what you do. Maybe it would have been better to move. No, because then it still dies. I think you needed the Klepto No, because then you can't boop. The Klepto needed to somehow be able to deliver 2 attacks, but you just don't have enough damage here now. Ginsting dead. Jar coming in. Lava will kill this. All the keys expended. No, last second undo. Yeah, no boop left for the push. Honey Bear probably dies here. Noxious, the penultimate Phobie from our blue player. But now, oh no. Oh, okay. Potenzia moved it. I was going to say, is Potenzia going to leave the Noxious back there? Because they will not be in range to hit the stem. These two Phobies can die. They, of course, can be booped as well. Because Klepto is going to get full damage expenditure. Did A. Markin, like, 20,000 IQ Galaxy Brain us with this push? And then baiting the counterattack from Potenzia? Obviously, Tiny Tim dies, and then it's just a question of who gets poisoned and how. So saving those 3 keys may have been clutch. Saving those 3 keys might have been clutch, because now if this gets poisoned, you can still muffin. So you put 2 1 keys or a 2 key onto the board, and maybe A. Markin can cook. I don't think you want to put the whatever you put on the board here, because if you do, then you risk the stemmed connection. But popping out the muffin early like this is good, because it's not then going to require you to reposition with the Klepto on the follow-up turn. A. Markin may have Galaxy Brained us, chat. Because that was looking really bad. And that's it. GG. A. Markin advances to the finals. Tiny Tim should not have attacked that turn. You might think, congratulations, A. Markin. Another Fright Night Finals in the bank. We're zoning in here for our other top 4 game. Master Dark versus Gabara. So this, I'm looking at the chat between the players. It looks like Mysomania and This Might Sting a Little were banned, as well as Red Rum and Pluto. The pick here was Megalo from Gabara. As I was mentioning a moment ago, Gabara seems to be a newcomer to Fright Night. I don't recall them playing previously, but I could be wrong. We, of course, have run a few of these events before. And there have been a lot of players across the various events. But good luck to everybody. We'll see how this plays out. We definitely have a tough series to follow, because that was a great series between Potenzia and A. Markin. And we'll see which of these players goes on to meet A. Markin in the finals. We're getting some fairly standard openers here, some common phobies that you'll see. But interestingly enough, we have not seen a Gravedigger out of either player, which has become more and more common across a lot of maps, but especially here in order to open up mobility options. Instead, Master Dark going with everyone's favorite mechanical monkey. It's Gonzo Bonzo. Don't worry, chat. Hold your cheers and your boos in the chat. What do we got here? What's going to make an appearance from Gabara for 4 keys to challenge this setup from our blue player? It's a Jin Sting. A solid choice, an all-around solid pick, but is that going to be enough to crack the defensive options here? Of course, whichever player commits to claiming the panic point first actually loses, believe it or not, because, maybe not loses the whole game, but is going to lose the panic point advantage very quickly because, of course, dueling 1 keys that will trade positions. Instead, we're probably going to get a stare down for a little bit as each player puts traps. Now, here's the unfortunate part for Gabara. 4 Phobies on the board. 4 Phobies on the board, which means that any addition to the team, a Gravedigger or otherwise, is going to max them out, which is going to force them into that 1 key exchange, which will yield a panic point advantage for our blue player. Whereas our blue player can kind of safely bank up here, go to whatever big nasty they want, supplement it with Gonzo, and try and bully our orange player out of position. Everybody's scolding Potenzia for picking Tiny Tim over Hermatic. Don't do that. It probably would have been better. I mean, the Tiny Tim pick was bold. I don't love it for a variety of reasons, but I mean, there was a world in which it worked. We'll see how aggressive our orange player wants to be here, getting a little bit of poke damage going down on the cat, softening it up for a later turn. There's a world in which you push aggressively into this. And to be honest, I don't hate that idea in order to reduce the forces to, like, Big Guy and Gonzo versus Ginsting, Jar, and something else. Because you could probably trade out your cat and Corn for Cassowary Corn Cat. But instead of banking, we're seeing a Klepto. Or we're not seeing a Klepto. We, in fact, are seeing a Klepto. The double back onto the original play. Klepto Gonzo, still very dangerous. Still very dangerous. People are beating up Potenzi in Discord. Oh, I'm a little preoccupied now, so hopefully it's in good fun and nobody's being malicious. I'll deal with that later. If you don't get the takedown here onto the cat, again, you're running into this issue of simply trading out the 1 keys. Gabara having to make a tough choice here. What are they going to do with their 6 keys? Originally intending to match Klepto for Klepto. Instead going with a Noxious. But if we're still in the position, if you don't kill this cat, it's just going to trade. And then Master Dark has some setup here. Has some options. All right, this is what we're going with. Locking it in. Pop goes the cat. Remaining cat replaces. And then there was 1. Is the Noxious going to be enough? We don't have a Gonzo or any other buff available on the board at the moment for Gabara, but there is, of course, always the potential for that surprise cupcake. Get that cupcake showing up, and then all of a sudden, somebody's day is ruined. Master Dark possibly thinking about that potential, not deciding to advance. Their team is still vulnerable to the cupcake play. It is still vulnerable to the cupcake play. Of course, you could cupcake fly in here and then splatter these 3. But instead, it's going to be a Bachelor just to flip the panic point. Or potentially flip. The more aggressively positioned Unicorn means that we probably have traps in all 3 of these locations at this point. The game has gone on long enough that it's likely the case. Notably, Bachelor came in. I don't think that Master Dark's Corn was ever in position to put a trap on the center panic point, but if it was, this could be a dead Bachelor for no gain. Instead, we're going to get some free damage going down with this Klepto. This is always the risk. Chipping these Phobies into range. Getting these Phobies put into range is a big risk here. How is Gabara going to answer? A tractor coming out of Master Dark, the terror of the small maps. Gabara is not in a great position to answer it. Not enough damage to really just explode the attractor immediately. Certainly not in position to do it. And not exactly a very tanky team in order to try and take this down. Are we going to get a push here? Or just a poke? Looks like just a poke as we are retreating in order to not get blown out. Unfortunately, okay, there we go. I was going to say, the chance you just get blown out by positioning there. Instead, we're going to get this concave set up. Our blue player is going to have to sacrifice something significant in order to replace the Bachelor. and reclaim this panic point. Of course, whatever goes there will be super vulnerable. This is risky. This is risky. This is a 1300 health Noxious, now available to be yoinked and targeted by nearly everything. This might be ball game right now. Challenge play, allowing for 2 juiced hits. Or not. What is happening? Get the leap going down there onto the Noxious. I almost would have rather seen it wait so you could claim the panic, because I think the Cassowary would have landed on the panic point. Saving the juice from Gonzo, just taking down the Noxious, essentially trading it for the Cassowary. That's the power of a tractor. I wasn't a huge fan of the Noxious being there. I get the aggressive positioning in order to try and threaten something happening, but unfortunately, just bites the dust. Gabara packing it in, getting ready for game 2. Let's see what they bring to the table there. Here we go. Game 2 of semi-final number 2. Master Dark, Gabara. Like and subscribe. Hey. How about that like and subscribe button? Hashtag eyebrow waggle. Help me out. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're so close, chat. We're up above 920-something subs the last time I looked on YouTube. Help me get that 1,000 subs. Help me out. Also, let me know what you want to see for future Phobies tournaments and events. What? 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 Turn 1 Jaws! Chat, this was Gabara's map pick. And they went turn 1 Jaws. Jaws, for those unaware, for those who may not have had the privilege, the honor of witnessing Jaws, 3-move melee phobie with Love Bite. My guy loves his teammates. Get in my belly. Nom nom nom. Oh, by the way, AWOL. Nom 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 nom. Get him. Get him. Yo, get in my belly. That's gross. 575 damage. First time seeing Jaws. Can Jaws eat the other player's phobie and take their damage, or only your phobies? Only yours. It would actually, like, that would be straight up broken. A 3-move phobie that could just one-shot anything. That would actually be broken. Like, we want to talk about balance concerns? That's a problem. Unless, oh yeah, true. True. If you get the Jaws plus Buffalo Will combo, you need the mini-me's. The mini-me's are yours, though. I get what you're saying. Is that my Darkwing Duck mug yesterday, chat? We got my Robin Hood mug. Oodalali, golly, what a day. Sir Clueless, welcome. I recognize that name. Welcome. A slow game is where Jaws shines. We're going to find out. So Master Dark, I believe, even last night was talking about Giggles. Giggles is so much creepier than Bowmangles. They could do a certain amount of damage. That way you could either sacrifice your own or your opponent's phobies. That feels more like an absorption mechanic. You know what I mean? And Mummy kind of is that. You know, like when you kill a guy, you get a guy. It's just, it does it in a different way. It makes a mini-me instead of absorbing it into the other phobie. I don't know. That would be a very, 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 very difficult thing to balance. Like an incredibly difficult thing to balance. Mummy is one of my top phobies. Don't have the levels on Jaws yet. I haven't seen a whole lot of successful Mummy play, but I think Mummy has a lot of potential. It has the #1 negative in the game, that it's melee, so there is that. But we'll see. We're getting the whole Jaws buffet. We got AWOL, we got Wiggy, because apparently the tastiest things in the phobies world are toes and bugs. Toes and bugs. Give me them toesies. Oh, it's the Master Dark Special. Chat. I don't think we could have asked for a more succulent toes. Gross. What website are we on? What website are we on right now? I was able to climb to some of all the corn hub. Yeah, we're on Cornhub with succulent toes. Mmm. Oh my god, I was able to climb to some of all fears too with it as my top MVP. Interesting. That was actually funny. Yeah. It's also very leveled. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, sheesh. I'm with you. I'm with you. So yeah, we get the Master Dark Classic in Ice Cream. Master Dark has been champion Ice Cream for a while, but I think we've done great. Like, we had some great, really in-depth strategic games, some nail-biters, and now we're getting wacky, I don't want to say never before seen, but rarely seen Phobies showing up in high-level games. This is great. Chimerity, why? Why? Jaws is cracked? I don't know if I'd go that far, but right now, this Jaws, yo, Grimes is jealous. Gesundheit? Oh my god. All right, so Jaws' favorite snacks are succulent toes, a buffet of bugs, and then apparently snot. Well, maybe, I mean, I guess if you ate Quagmire, it would be snot. Do I go weirder? No, let's not get weirder. You get a little Miss Moffat. You get a little Miss Moffat, which at this point with this Jaws, which again, 3-range Phobie, there's not a lot that's safe. Speaking of not being safe, I'm in danger. Oh, your favorite and mine, chat. Notably, no one has claimed the center panic point, a 1 key available for Master Dark to be the sacrificial lamb. There are buttons to be pressed galore. 7 Phobies for Master Dark is, in fact, an accurate count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gabara never going to run into that problem because nom nom, we got a little Jaws action to ensure that the team is staying lean and mean. And certainly, Jaws is fit. It's 1,675 damage, chat. So I will say something for Akira. As much as I did, yeah, it's a 10-key Jaws. Like, that's the thing. I wish we could see the track. I mean, I guess we can just click here. These 3 are. But there's no way, like, if we had other dead things, there's no way to know that these went into Jaws versus these were, they just died. Koro tying it all together. But yeah, this is effectively a 10-key Phobie. Would you, chat, if you had the option, put a 10-key Phobie on the board that has 200 health, 1,675 damage with a 3 range? Oh no, not like this. That is brutal. It kind of doesn't matter because this was going to happen anyway. So actually, for Gabara, that's not terrible. What's also not great here is this. It looks like that spider is going to get... Nope, spider's not going to get squashed. Undoing. Him one-shot Akira? You would be correct. But that would... obviously, the Jaws dies when it goes in. When it does that, right? That would be a key negative trade. Erratic was going to light everything up. Yeah, Erratic would have introduced electricity into the world of Phobies. But this is a very tough position for Gabara. This is a very tough position. How do you play into the Akira? The Akira is never going to be exposed until the turn that it goes off, and maybe not even then. Player 2 has 2 extra keys. Yes. We, of course, have 14... No, wait. 14 to 13. Where's the extra key? Unless you were counting, like, because the cat went down, but, like, that... I don't know. Regardless, orange player could win the 1-key training war. Could win the 1-key trading war because they have the extra key advantage. Definitely threatening something here. But you do have to keep in mind Terraform. Terraform for both players can get very scary very quickly. The Akira pole is going to suddenly make everybody very close friends. Chat is being weird. What is happening right now? I really want to see Jaws, like, eat the erratic or something. It's one thing to feed in these 1-key phobies and, I guess, some 2 keys, but it's another thing altogether to, like, no, I'm going to eat my 6-key. What? You know, chat, one thing I will say for Akira, as much as I hate it, one thing I will say for Akira is that it makes things like Flesh Crawler suddenly look insane. Suddenly, Flesh Crawler potentially looks downright bonkers. Gabara places a Cerberus and feeds it 2 to Jaws. True. I don't know that I like this Jaws positioning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maxed out, but there's a risk of, like, an Akira pole into something else horrendous. Oh my god, you called it! No way! That's a Cerberus! It's not a Cerberus. Chat, it almost happened. It almost happened. It almost happened. Oh my god, you can't make this up. That, like, I don't agree with that play, but it is something that could have actually materialized. 16 cost Jaws, yeah, right? Hey, chat, people have been talking about phobies that cost more than 9 keys for a very long time. Well, there's your chance. Alright, we'll see how Master Dark plays this turn. I have some ideas about how this turn should go. I have some thoughts. This is the difficult part of Akira, especially in Arena. The animation is so long that by the time you see where things are, you start doing stuff, you only get so many attempts, so you really have to map it out. And then once you do it, if you undo your turn and pass, your opponent now is like, oh, well, I know. Now, I don't think you have enough damage to kill the Jaws. That is Jaws the anti-Akira? Is Jaws the anti-Akira? There's still a lot of game left. Still a lot of game left. Believe it or not, 6,800, 7,600, no damage has been done to anybody. We get the block down here in order to make Jaws' approach a little more complex. It wouldn't have been able, like, it can still get around. This kind of does nothing. I love the way that it walks. Also, what is this the bone of on its nose? Because that's quite clearly supposed to be a bone, right? Because sharks are made out of cartilage. Feed it a numbskull? What's numbskull's base damage? You know what would be bonkers if Jaws got the attributes of the attack. So, like, if you fed it an AoE attacker like numbskull, that it would do AoE damage. It's the bone of its mother. It's a Q-bone. So a few turns ago, I think Master Dark had the opportunity to just crack this obstacle instead of moving up here and then blow up a bunch of the stuff down here, including Jaws and Erratic. I don't know if there was enough damage, but you could have fed the Flesh Crawler into the broken obstacle and then had it go off without having to do it at range. Again, I don't know if there was enough damage because of the one-movers and stuff being out of position, but it was possible. Four to 1 panic point advantage, by the way, for our orange player. Now there's relevant pressure on Master Dark's life total. But Gabara can't let up on the pressure, has to still continue to threaten, still play around this Akira. Why does Flesh Crawler sound like it's wearing wet rubber shoes? I don't know. Like, some of the it feels right, but at the same time, it makes no sense. Nothing cheap to sack from Master Dark? Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Venus and Unicorn have been able to run around freely on Master Dark's side of the map for some time. It's entirely possible that that means that Master Dark has an enormous set of traps, and if they ever get something set up, or Gabara decides to turn the corner and get aggressive, that they're just going to get punished super hard. If Jaws did gain the attributes of another phobia, it should at least last for 2 turns. Like, it should then lose it, or you mean that the cooldown should be 2 turns? All right, so we do get the Terraform coming in. There's got to be an Akira play here, right? Overcommit? Maybe. There's got to be an Akira play here. Like, there's just no way there's not, right? I mean, the Klepto could have died through a number of these pulls. And again, because of all the traps set up, I'm not sure Gabara can advance through with the spider or anything else for that matter. Okay, I was going to say, there's no way you let that live, right? He just isn't willing to sack Akira with Jaws. I mean, like I said earlier, at a certain point, this is a 10-key Jaws. Even though it's hard to, keep track of that in mid-game, it's like, that's a lot of resources that have been sunk into this Jaws. Get value out of your Akira, and then trade, and it's like, you're up 1,000,000 keys. I don't think you can kill this profitably. Hey, Potenzia, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. I don't know if that's Potenzia from earlier. It's Potenzia 4, so not Potenzia 2, but, internet. He sees 5 keys for 9. Yeah, I mean, you obviously want your 9-key investment to be valuable, and while you could easily say, yeah, it's 10 keys for 9, at the same time, the game has matured in a way, and your board state is matured in a way where if you lose the Akira, your team is kind of crap. To break the obstacle, Gabara cannot. Gabara has broken the obstacle a couple turns ago. Master Dark does have that option. But they've had that option for, like, the last 10 turns. This actually is relevant positioning. Getting this trap broken because then the boom can hypothetically retake this if that matters. I don't know that that's going to be the case. All right, this is going to be an easy gobble by the jaws here. Hard HP slowly dying. I don't know if I'd call it slow. Like, this was over 7,000 just a couple turns ago. Master Dark's in a tough spot. Gravedigger, I guess, is the sacrifice here. I'm not sure I love the Gravedigger sacrifice because I think that the Terraform advantage with Akira is really big, but I get it. I do get it. So the question becomes, is the boom going to be the sacrifice here to flip the panic point, or are you going to send the Corn in? With the damage sitting on this Jin Sting and no keys left, so no muffin, nothing like that, this does become super challenging. Jaws finally got 3 keys back. Yep. Still key negative. Whoops. That's one thing I will say about Jaws. People pointed out before, the attack animation is... it's not that great. Tenzia trying to chat here, but his messages aren't visible for some reason. There's nothing on Twitch that would prevent that. He should bite? What? Love bite what? The boom? That doesn't make any sense. You'll get 0 attack. His shame would prevent him from posting. I mean, that could be true. That could be true. Sorry, I banned Potenzia from chat. No, I don't think Luffy or Dr. Traffic or Bell did that. The only thing it might be is if you literally just signed up with a Twitch account, like right now, I think I might have some of the auto mod things set to like, you can't chat for like 10 minutes until you've followed for 10 minutes or something like that, or an hour. Because then it prevents drive-by bots from showing up and spamming chat. I think Jaws should have a special one-shot kill animation. That would be kind of cool. It would be cool. I don't think... What is Blue doing here? I guess this? Or is Blue just for this? Ironically, this block here is actually hosing Master Dark. This block that made no sense at the time, from like 1,000 turns ago, is preventing Master Dark from just quickly capping this. But yeah, Jaws having a special one-shot kill animation would be kind of be like Grimes, where Grimes has the gravestone circle it when it swipes. Give Jaws 100 damage for each enemy kill. I mean, we already have that. We have Grimes. I don't think we need to, like does Jaws really need all this extra stuff, chat? Come on. Like, let him be. Akira is going to be back online soon, chat. And now we have a much bigger threat in Klepto because there isn't... Like, it's getting kind of thin for Gabara. Another pick, and this game might end. Another Phobie takedown on either the Jin Sting or the Erratic or the Jaws could just be the end of the game in Master Dark's favor. Jaws does not need a buff. He's basically the peak of melee already. That doesn't mean he doesn't need a buff. I'm not even trolling here. I would have probably liked to have seen the Jin Sting stay here. Like, threaten this point. Leave the Gravedigger and the Jin Sting, like, here. Because Akira's not up yet. This, I think, was an error by Gabara. I don't know that grouping it in this concave matters, unless there's going to be a push here. And the only thing you could get is, like, Gravedigger, break, swing in this, yoink the Venus, and I think you just get punished super hard by the return Akira pull. If I get Jaws, I already know what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to go for the Flesh Crawler, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can snipe this. Can you? Yeah, you can. Is it worth it, though? At what cost? Probably your whole team. Probably your whole team. Who's pinging me in Discord? Honestly, Akira comes off cooldown. Yeah, Akira's off cooldown now. Honestly, from Gabara's perspective, since Master Dark sacked the Gravedigger, these obstacles are now permanent unless they don't want them to be. Gabara's completely in control of that. There's basically no world in which Master Dark can heart push. So, kind of just feels like don't get blown out by the Akira pull and you can't lose. You know what I mean? So, like, the Erratic might die here. No, maybe not. There isn't. I think only these three can connect with it. Well, 4 maybe. Going for full wall. I mean, honestly, like I said, if you don't, and I don't love the offering yourself up to be hit by the Klepto here, with the exception of you didn't burn the Terraform. Didn't burn the Terraform, so like, there are some things that could happen here, chat. Just making some notes real quick. Wall defends him, set the Jaws to hunt down that last Akira. It's isolated. You could, or you could just kill all the things that are relevant. Like, there's a world where you just break one of these obstacles, plow through with Jaws, but I think the counterattack is risky. So, like, the safer play is to snipe the Akira. I think the safer play is to snipe the Akira. And the problem is, we'll see where Gabara ends up, like, leaving their, where they end up leaving everything at the end of this turn. So this still opens up a double Klepto hit, which is the part that I don't like about this. And, like, this is a nasty Klepto hit. Did Gabara just throw? Gabara might have just thrown. Maybe not. Maybe everything's tanky enough, but everything's beat to hell. This is not going to work. This Akira pull is not going to work. Like, that is just worse. Nasty Erratic hit, but the Erratic, like, you have to kill the Flesh Crawler and the Klepto. You'll lose things on the follow-up, and then you have to still get through the remaining stuff. And, like, all your team is, because this will be dead, and then these three are all on death's door. Like, this seems like the best Akira yoink, I think. And then it just depends on where Master Dark lands the Klepto hits. Also has Ice Cream, exactly. So, like, if the Jaws will live, you send it in, you one-shot something, but then you Ice Cream it. And now it's just out of the game. The game will be over before it thaws, one way or another. I'll be honest, I think Master Dark should have gone for that pull. I think Master Dark goes for this pull and, like, annihilates Gabara's team. I don't think there was enough counterattack damage to kill the Klepto and the Flesh Crawler, and if either of them live, I think you win the game. It would be tough if you kill the Klepto and it is just the Flesh Crawler that survives, because obviously you can't just spam Raising Hell, but it's still pretty dangerous. So Gabara's taking the more defensive position here. This definitely makes sense because, like, Now the play that Master Dark could make is way, way, way worse. So you can get a hit here, and you have to run. Panic points are going to flip, though. This is a big deal. What's the hard HP? 800. This is a big deal because now Master Dark has stabilized. No longer taking panic point damage. So now Gabara has to find a way to get control of these panic points back without giving up their entire team. And as we discussed, these two have been on the map for like 1,000 years. Now that being said, 7,400 heart health, Gabara has some time to figure this out. Or do they? This is supremely risky. We already know the Corn will die with virtually any pull. The question is, will the Erratic die? Klepto can't make this sprint down to this panic point, especially if it's going to get pulled back up by the Akira. So what I think Gabara is setting up here is that the Corn is going to want to take this point. Obviously, the Corn is not going to live to take this point. The only thing that matters is that this can now freeze. Oh, no. Chat. This can connect. This can freeze. Oh, no. Corn goes down. Erratic down. Erratic doesn't even need to get frozen. So here's the big question, chat. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Giggles 2 hits. Akira 2 hits. I don't think Jaws can make it. This looks like the end. Wait! This tanks the Giggles hit! Oh my god, this will tank 2 Giggles hits! No! There's a trap! No! I agree with chat. You could have pulled the Akira and full send the Jaws! You could have pulled the Akira. Wait, where was the spider to begin with? The spider was here, wasn't it? Where was the spider? Was it here? Chat. Oh my god. I can't believe. No! No!
Oh, no.
Spider couldn't?
No!
Spider couldn't reach? I don't remember where it was originally positioned. I don't remember where the spider was positioned. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. GG. That was a hell of a game. Well played, both players. We have our finals. Have our finals, chat. Jaws almost got there. Oh my god. Thematic for the top, Jaws for the far away. I don't think Jaws could have reached. I'd have to go back and look, because I honestly can't picture where they were. I don't know if like Gravedigger and Spider could take the mid. Yes, that could happen. I don't know if you could have. I think it was too far away. We'd have to go back and like 6 spaces is a lot, but it's not enough to cross from any point on the map. So I have to see where it started at. Either way, great game. Spectacular game. We're going to get set up for our finals. While we're waiting for them, because it's going to bother me. It's going to bother me. Honestly, like, this game was incredible. It was absolutely wild. Okay, so this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it could have reached. Yeah, it could have reached. You yoink this, you cap here. Yeah, that's game. So the Spider can't reach the Akira, but the Spider can displace the Flesh Crawler. Gravedigger comes in. It would have tanked a trap. Any trap. Hematic goes here, and then you just walk Jaws here. And that is game. I thought the Jaws was in a different... That's why I said I had to look at it to see what the positioning was. Because once they started moving and they undid stuff and redid it, and I couldn't tell exactly where it was. There was no trap on the points. I mean, even if there was, is the point that, like, they could tank it even if there was. So it isn't like, oh, well, they can cap all the points, but then they die to the trap or something. Here we are. It's time for the finals. Master Dark and A-Markin here once again on This Might Sting a Little. We'll see who takes this event down. It's been a hell of a top 8, chat. Some incredible game. Akira is fine only because everybody gets it. That's a discussion for another time. In fact, I may have done some videos on that. Ooh, we're getting the double Tooth Fairy opener. Interesting. No creeps out of either player. No cute plays out of A-Markin with beauty. Instead, we're going right into Tooth Fairy. Now, A-Markin, of course, being the second player on this map, able to pop out a Henrietta to put some additional pressure onto Master Dark's Tooth Fairy. 650 health, so it would not survive a double volley from the Tooth Fairy. Supplementing their forces with yet another dimensional, the original good boy. One of the original good boys, anyway. We had a lot of honorary good boys that a lot of people were able to access. Most people were able to access before Snowball. Would prefer Sock Acid against Tooth? True, but Sock Acid is in fact an ultra rare. Easier said than done. But we do get Hevo 2.0. Very common on this map. I think everybody can understand why. I actually really like this map. Certainly out of the ones of the... Well, we have newer maps in this tile set, so I won't say that out of all the ones from this tile set, this is the best one. But this, compared to Xylo, is the originals. Xylo is trash. This Might Sting a Little is pretty solid. While there are displacement plays, whether they're boops or they're yoinks, it isn't so much revolving entirely around, hey, I just yoinked your whole team into oblivion. Or I just booped your heart and therefore was able to kill 12 keys. So we'll get matching Hevos here. Of course, we get a little bit of a damage trade between the Tooth Fairy and Snowball. Either one is representing lethal on the other for the next connection. whether it's a regular attack or it's Fireball. Although Fireball technically will have the advantage because it won't be impacted by the dimensional pull. Master Dark banking up to 10 to match a Markin. There is a displacement play here available. Is a Markin going to seize that opportunity? It looks like it. That is rough and exactly what I was worried about. Boops onto the lava to get the takedown and follows up with Beauty, the now A Markin signature on this map. Unlucky? Nah. There's no luck in this game. It is actually, in all seriousness, like, I can make jokes about it, but it's a great heads-up play about the displacement effects here, because you're able to take advantage of the fact that there's a cat backing this up. We get the counter boop, not nearly as impressive, no takedowns, but a good chunk of damage. I'm not sure. The weird thing about this is, like, what was the plan here? If either you're doing the displacement or you're not. I guess to get the Tooth Fairy out of the way. Not sure. Ooh, Master Dark does love them some freezes, chat. Is that a chill? It's Yeti. Get a little snow cone action. It's the winter time right now, so I don't know how many people are going out for snow cones and ice cream, but Yeti is here to deliver, or was. Puff incoming. If A Markin has access to it. Double Blom on this map to just, like, Blom. Cooldown, Blom, cooldown, Blom, cooldown. Like, that seems pretty nasty. You can't quite do it that way, I don't think. Trying to remember the precise cooldowns on Puff, but I'd have Stim Attack with Tooth Fairy and the Boop add another Phobie to punish. Yeah, like that would have been reasonable. That would have been reasonable. Put a lot more pressure on that Hevo for sure. But we get the Clinico to negate a whole bunch of damage that, well, maybe not yet, but damage that is surely going to appear. So now Master Dark is forced into having to try and eliminate these Phobies in one clean shot. But no, A Markin does not have Puff, according to chat. But we're not going to see everyone's favorite Fiery Dragon come in to cause trouble. At least not yet. So Panic Point advantage remains in favor of our orange player. There were Bloms available. Of course, you could have hit here, but that would have meant that Beauty gets frozen. So someone do Graylien plus Beauty here? That's actually hysterical. That's actually funny. I mean, you could do kind of the same thing. We've talked about this before, Graylien offers just a little bit more range. And of course, the positioning matters for the Blom, so getting that set up is a little bit more difficult with a regular pull like a Moffat or something, but it can be done in other ways. Sizzle is a good option. We keep talking about Sizzle. I don't know if Sizzle's a good option for anything. Like, I don't see any reason why you would Sizzle over Snowball. It's cheaper. It gets there faster. It's generally more useful on this map. Ooh, we actually get the heal here. Heal onto Tooth Fairy. I don't think we need Sizzle. I don't think we need Sizzle. In fact, we get a Hevo 3.0. That'll add some fire to the mix. Double tap takes the freeze off. It does, but because of the additional movement required, the thaw is probably going to happen at about the same time. Because the snowball on this map can get there faster. So even if you're waiting for it, like you've already started the thaw process, whereas you have to wait for the sizzle to walk up, giving your opponent more time to clobber you. I don't put anything that's melee. I immediately, like, it's just not as valuable to me. It's kind of like one movers. It's just such an enormous disadvantage that it's hard to overcome. Notably, both players have their boops up. You gotta be a little cautious here. Gotta be a little cautious here, because there are bad things that can happen when that boop is available. Now, we do get double boops from Master Dark, meaning that you might be able to just push something into the abyss unexpectedly. Am I seeing this correctly? I saw that play coming from like 1,000 miles away, and that's got to be game. Like that's just it, right? Somebody tell me that was a connection issue. It might be. It might have been. I don't know. That is like a wildly uncharacteristic mistake from A. Markin. A. Markin does not normally make those sort of errors. And I'll be honest, I don't think there's a way to come back from this. Yeah. I don't think there's a way to come back from this. All right, game 2. After a eventful game number 1, Master Dark on match point over A. Markin, zoning into Mysomania. Let's see what players have in store. Chat, either way, this has been a spectacular event, an incredible top 8. If you're interested in playing in some Phobies events, some Phobies tournaments, some competitive Phobies play with all the Phobies at level 1, let me know in Discord, in the YouTube comments, or come by the live stream. Of course, the links for all those are in the description of this video. Likes and subscribes, of course, help. Trying to close in on 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We are so close. Real question, am I going to finish the challenges? Probably not. Probably not. I probably won't. Because honestly, until you just asked about it, I forgot the challenges were even a thing. Karst won't play level 1. He's very opinionated against it. That's not true. Karst has actually said that they were going to compete in Monster of the Week, for example, and then just, real-life conflicts came into play. I don't think Karst is against level 1s. I think Karst is against the idea of level 1s in the sense that it doesn't seem to be the quote-unquote intended way to play by the devs. Now, you could debate whether that's true or not, but I think there is something to it given just the way the rollout of the game has gone. I would love to have something from the devs saying whether level 1 or level 30 is the intended way to play the game. The reason it matters is the scaling of things like lava tiles, healing spas, stims, heart health, etc. And it's entirely possible that maybe level 30 is the quote-unquote correct way to play. We get the Bachelor takedown without a weird displacement trick. In fact, we get extra damage going down. A. Markin eating a ton of damage here. I don't think the Crushmore can die. Yeah, that's the reason, Kuro. All right, just doing this slightly differently. Master Dark was attempting to get a quick takedown on this Crushmore, but a little too tanky. Just a little too tanky. I never noticed how condensed everything. Like, look at this. The numbers on Crushmore actually overlap the name It's just funny how this works. This Crushmore's in for a rough time because this, of course, can slide up and poke at it, but there is a stabby to threaten it. We'll see if Master Dark decides to get really aggressive here. I doubt it, but maybe. Bring Alien Engineer and just cry because you're never winning a tournament again. Alien Engineer, we need to get into some of the events. The libel, yep. It's easy to trash talk people when they're not here, right? They can't defend themselves. Shout out to Cars. Show him the screenshot and he'll probably participate. I believe Shadow Force is the best player. Shadow Force is really strong. A multi-Fright Night champion. Multi-time Fright Night champion. All right, so we're going to get the break here in order to allow the heal. Definitely makes sense. We get an early Firkin. I would imagine this is a preemptive answer to an opposing Akira. And of course, reinforces the ability for A Markin to enforce their Akira. Oh, chat. My God, who is pinging me in Discord now? So there actually was a relevant ping. I am interested in feedback from people for changing up tournament structure, map bans, phobie bans, even Swiss versus double limb. I will defend my system because it is the best one, but I also want to create and put on events that people want. So it doesn't matter if it's the best system if people aren't interested in playing those events. So here's an interesting play. We get the Crushmore ending up on the lava here, which leaves it vulnerable to some poke, but I don't know that that matters. So we do get the attractor in face. No, we don't. I was going to say we get the attractor in face of the Firkin, but Master Dark's second guessing it. Banking. All right, bank to 11 from Master Dark. Content with their position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still leaving room. I imagine we're going to get an Akira, right? Dead Inoculus to Cupcake. Didn't we determine earlier A Markin doesn't have Cupcake? Also, what would it have been dead to? I guess 1, 2, 3. No, I can't reach. This could have reached, but the Cupcake couldn't have gotten to it. I don't think anything could have reached it. Could it? Because Inoculus was here. Rushmore was here. I don't think anything could have reached it. Like, this could have hit it, but because it was already on the stem, the Cupcake couldn't hit the Birkin. Razor would break the obstacle. Was this up? Like, this wasn't up. I don't think Razormouth was in range either. I'd have to go back and look at the turn. He was in range? Okay, fair enough. 300. Well, it's only 600 damage at... Isn't it only 300 damage at Cupcake on baseline? So, like, Razormouth wouldn't have been able to do it. How do I sign up for Fright Night? I heard it was on Tuesday. Well, may have heard wrong. May have heard wrong. With Leprechaun, fair. Fair. We got all the hypotheticals, including every possible pull that could happen. A Markin with 12 keys and plenty of bench room in order to supplement their forces. Both players with Akira. Is the Firkin ever going to connect? Honestly, if A Markin can get the first pull, there's a good chance that the Firkin connects, because it'll essentially have a 2-move closer. And here's where things are going to possibly start going off the rails. It's going to get messy pretty quickly for Master Dark because they are maxed out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A Markin still has room. No Abyss for the 3.0. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough to kill this guy very easily. Yeah, Akira's 100% getting turned off. Although, is that relevant? I don't think this is a good pull, is it? You know what? There's no way you have enough damage. Or do you? This off the stim, I don't know. There's no way that's enough damage. Because for a second, I was like, you can get double hits with this. But, like, I don't think you can kill their... Can you kill their Akira? No, there's... Cupcake. It all comes back. Honestly, like... This is... If there was a Cupcake here, which they can't play for the record because they're maxed out on Phobies. But... if there was a Cupcake play available, it would exemplify precisely why Cupcake is asinine. A-Markand, and this is why we all hated Akira, because, like, look at where A-Markand is. They could not possibly be farther back. And Cupcake still would snipe. Like, that's just dumb. It's not okay. So, Firkin will connect here. Or not. Like, we're going to have a lot of these plays, chat. We're just going to let the turn play out. We'll let the turn play out. Honestly, I think you go for it if you're A-Markand, because you can turn off their Akira with the Firkin, and it gives you such a huge advantage that as long as you get something out of it, I think it's worth. So the issue here is now A-Markand has opened up the 12 keys available to Master Dark. I don't know if Master Dark has their own Firkin or what other big nasty could come out. There is a warm-up on the Leapercarn, so you're not necessarily just going to be like, pop it out, Akira, Leapercarn, you're Akira, get wrecked, nerd. You're going to have to jump through a little bit of a hoop. But even from here, I mean, this is looking really rough for Master Dark. You got the Gonzo, you got the Hevo, you got the Leapercarn, you got the Akira. We're getting 2.0. It's a really good Phobie, but I don't know if that's the answer you want in this position. Apparently Master Dark agreed. It's Bachelor. Does Master Dark have Firkin? I don't know. I don't know. There's no way, obviously, to see the players' available options as far as collection goes. Interesting. I don't think as A-Markand it's worth popping an Akira unless you're going on the offensive also. I don't think it's worth going on popping the Akira unless you can go on the offensive. I mean, you are chasing down this Akira with the Firkin slowly. They want to Firkin it? Yeah, but like if you trade Akira yoinks, what does that get you? You now have a crappier Phobie on the board in the Firkin. I feel like there was... It says you unlock a badge if you send one more bit. Well, thank you for the 1 bit. Congratulations. I don't know what the badge you get for it is, to be honest. I think you're already the bit leader. Yeah, you're the bit leader, so I don't know what it gets you. Bits are a thing that, like, I don't know. Twitch has some weird stuff. I set up a Ko-Fi a while ago. But, like, I don't know what the bits do. Scammed. So there's like a 1-turn window on any given turn where the Akira is not vulnerable to Firkin. And it's pretty much always... Ooh, no. Okay. Okay. That's weird how that poll ended up. Okay, this is more what I was expecting. All right, there's going to be a big ol' hit here. Boom! I don't think that's enough to kill this, though. 150 and only 100, but we do get bees! Who's got them channel points, chat? Hey, Markin's going to undo everything because we're running out of time. Bees! Action, there it is. GG. You know, it's been a long time. GG. It's been a long time. I should redo that one. I should redo a lot of the channel point redemption things. Like, keep the thing, keep the bees, but like... Bees! I feel like my editing skills and I could do it better now. GG. Is this worthwhile? I don't know about this one. How do you only have 55 channel points, Steven? How do you only have 55 channel points? You hang out all the time. You had to have been generating them. For a second, the way it animated the heart down there, it looked like there was another phobie that I completely forgot about or something. First blood. It's not even close to first blood, but the random poke at the heart, because why not? Oh, 55,032. Okay. Little hydrate action. Stay hydrated, kids. Don't get kidney stones like me. It's not fun. Not fun. In fact, it is the opposite of fun. The A-Markin taking their life in their hands, being a little aggressive with the Gonzo positioning. I don't think there's really a great way to punish it because how far back Master Dark's Akira is, so it's not like you can pull it into a weird position. No matter what, you're still going to have to advance to threaten something. So we're continuing with this 3-2 panic point advantage. We're going to stare at each other for a little while longer. Honestly, the Akira pull that not Master Dark, A-Markin had tried a couple turns ago didn't seem terrible if you Firkin their Akira. Because you would have gotten the Innocuous. I think you could have killed the Jin Sting. And then they just may not have enough damage to counter. Especially with only 4 keys available. Like, this could be a dead Crushmore. You get 2 hits here. You could hypothetically get the 2.0 and Jin Sting to hit. Then you also could have the Jar connect. But the setup we were going for was a boop, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to get it. What the hell just happened there? Why did it look like Hevo took damage? The counter will be brutal, though, for Master Dark on that scenario. Yeah, probably. I think it would be very bad. Hence why they undid it. The earlier A-Markin one, I don't think that... Like, the counter would have been damaging, of course, and you probably lose something, but, like, I don't think Master Dark could have killed the Hevo. It's possible they could have, but I think they can't kill the Hevo because they couldn't displace it with the Akira. Little hydrate action. Little hydrate going on. Gotta drink that water. All right. Everybody, it's our first of 3 Akira attempts for the turn. I love the get hit animation on Firkin, the way it screams. Next thing you know, Markin takes out paddles to send the Firkin in, and then has Akira and everything moving closer. That would be hilarious. I don't think there's a good pull available here. I mean, I guess this is all right, because now you turn stuff off, but this is what I was talking about, where I personally... Wait. Nope, not enough. Personally, I'm of the opinion that Markin needs to Akira this and get something done. You can't just Akira and do nothing. Like, I don't think this gets you anywhere. It buys you some time, because the Akiras are going to be on cooldown. But I don't know if that's worth it. It doesn't feel like it's worth it. You obviously have the advantage in the Akira fight because you have Firkin, so you can dictate when your opponent can Akira. Short of, oops, I stepped out of position, I lose, which, you know, happened. But I think that you kind of have to push something with it. Like, now that your Akira's down, and of course it will come back first. There is that. Surprised Markin doesn't take mid. Masters at 7 Phobies. He has the space. Yeah. I don't know what they're saving the 4 keys for, but you could certainly flip the panic points and then force Master Dark to do something. Like, they have to do something eventually. And clearly you can continue to turn off the Akira, like, forever. / you will have the first reactivation. Ooh, we get the break here. What does that do for you? Maybe biased, but I think my paddles idea was better than using Akira to Firkin another Akira and not kill something. Like, I get it if you're going to press an advantage. I think you need to damage or kill something, ideally kill something or some things with the Akira turn. But if you're in Markin's position, you can continue to deactivate Master Dark's Akira, get your Akira back first, and then be like, all right, well, it didn't work this time. Can you stop me from killing you again next time? Eventually, they're human. Somebody will make a mistake. So it's like, I'm counting on you making an error. But I could see the paddles play working, or a variety of other plays, because this is getting super stalematey. The break here in the north opens up the opportunity here for Stabby to suddenly make an impact on the offensive. Is that enough? I don't know. Honestly, I don't hate the idea of, like, putting this here. Honey Bear? Why? So, is the game plan here to never kill another one of Master Dark's Phobies and then just turn off these 2 panic points? Because that's actually kind of funny. Boop. Markin doesn't have that much longer. Like, because this has gone on so long, they're under 4K health. Under 3,800 health. And Honey Bear is not going to react very quickly. Akira's about to be up, so I don't think Master Dark can end the game in, like, 2 turns. Maybe in 2, actually. Depending on how this goes, because this could push, this gets 2 hits, and this gets a hit. Plus the panic point damage. There's some pressure that can happen here. Master Dark could hypothetically just dive the heart. I don't know how the math will work out here, because it's a little bit more arithmetic than I feel like doing at the moment. So we do get the puke here. And then we're going to get the rearranging. We, of course, will have Akira available next turn for a Markand, and the Firkin available to turn off Master Dark's Akira. With 3570 left on the heart, 800, this can come in for another 4, so that's 12, 16, 18. This is lethal in 2 turns. Master Dark playing it defensively, backing off. Fearing, of course, the Akira pull that is inevitably going to happen. I don't think this saves you at all. Like, I think there's an Akira pull here. You go here. Actually, you could go here. Or you just do this, I guess. You Firkin there. Yep. See, the problem is that the Hevo is going to get exposed to... Like, the Hevo can't go in because of this. There had to have been a better Akira play. There had to be a better Akira play. So I think what you could have done is you put the Akira on the lava. That pulls the Hevo here, most likely. It might pull the Stabby down, but like, say it pulls the Akira here. That means it's a Stabby, Akira, Hevo here. You juice the Hevo, get double hits with all the splash. Then you just start, like, shitting on the rest of their units. I think that's a much more back-breaking Akira play than this. Like, this just doesn't even seem good. This feels like a, I'm not sure what to do, I'm just doing it. Because you're going to get booped here, and you're going to lose your Firkin. Hey, Markand's in their own head? They might be. They might be. I told you that after the last game, it might just be really hard to avoid tanking. Because... It was a big mistake. There's no 2 ways about it, and ultimately it's hard to come back from that. It's a big mental error. But Master Dark is playing this very safely. The mud should fall off this turn, I believe. That being said, there's an argument that A. Markand is just playing this supremely safely and be like, well, I can't lose, so let's just not throw. And they're going to take a very incremental approach. The problem is that's giving Master Dark plenty of time to possibly cobble something together. Master Dark still has 4 keys left. Yeah, but something's got to die. And whatever turn something dies, a bunch of things are going to die. So, like, yes, the 4 keys could matter. Snowball has not been used, so that could be a quick surprise damage output. Master Dark's going to slowly win at this rate. Possibly. We are softening up the Hevo, for what that's worth. I don't think there's any way the Honey Bear can die from this position. But Amarkin can't really advance. You're risking lava damage or other weird positioning. The Boop is still live. So, like, this is a risk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, this is a dead Firkin, but you could punish it pretty hard if they come after it. Of course, there will be the displacement because Firkin is a dimensional. And without access to the Akira yoinks, you can't make something happen that way. This is why I don't like Mysomania. I don't think this game is an issue with the map. I think the players are just getting nervous or tired or a combination thereof and missing plays. On both sides, to be perfectly honest. Mysomania, in my experience, does not typically devolve into this. But I've also had, like, most of the time, Mysomania's honestly turned into heart pushes relatively quickly. Boop is, in fact, live. That allows for the Honey Bear displacement down to 1,000 health. Will not be able to puke on these without staying on the lava and exposing itself to the stim. I doubt that's going to happen. Taking some cheap shots on Akira here. Nothing in... Like, you can't kill the Inoculus. Mysomania desperately needs more panic points. Mysomania does feel like an early map design map. I don't think it necessarily needs more panic points. I think it needs panic points that aren't in range of the vault. So, yes, you can... It does require breaking it, but A, that's trivial. And B, because you can just run a 1 key here, it makes it easy to fall into this trap of we're going to reduce the number of keys in the game. And on a big map, that means it takes forever. Ooh, so we get the puke onto the stim. Interesting. All right. That means that this Inoculus can take pot shots here. We can, of course, lob and lob. But the Boop is down. So that means that this positioning can stick here. We're a couple turns away from another yoinks happening. I mean, I've said before that I think all of the panic point, or all of the maps could use panic points that are more aggressive, as in they just straight up do more damage. And that's why the conversation earlier about Karst and level 1s versus level 30s or ladder games is interesting, because at what point, like, which end of the spectrum does the team feel is, quote-unquote, the real game of Phobies? Because the scaling doesn't track with level 30s. At a certain point, you just outpace the scaling. Obviously, if you spend a ton of money but suck and you're playing around in heebie-jeebies, your Phobies may just be way more powerful, in which case you'll probably graduate out very quickly anyway, even if you're terrible. But in this case, at level 1 versus level 30, like, because you outpace it, you're just not taking as much damage. As far as I know, we try to balance everything at level 1. Interesting. Because I would have to, and I always mean to do this, I want to go and look at the numbers. If you scale everything to level 30, the damage from the lava tile caps out at 235, I think. So eventually, like, the level 30 Phobies scale past that. Hell, like, the level 20s scale past that, you know what I mean? So technically, the lava is doing less damage than it would to something at level 1. So I'm curious, like, how does that factor into things? What does that mean? 2585 here. Down goes Gravedigger. That does free up the keys from Master Dark. Does Master Dark have an ace in the hole that they've been waiting on? Rushmore has to retreat. I don't love that. Honestly, I feel like it would be better off if it stayed in here because you're going to have Yoinks available next turn. So you need this Crushmore here in order to threaten more damage. There is the potential that you just Yoinks everything and then Gonzo the Hevo and just annihilate their whole team. We'll see. We're getting down to the wire here, chat. Are we going to have a game 3? I don't know if people can hear that, but holy shit, the wind is like anti-M. It's a twister. The wind has been insane recently. Like, I don't remember it being this loud and whistling like this. This is huge. A-Mark and way ahead now. Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest, they were way ahead this whole time. But the impact an Akira can have is just so dramatic that it almost doesn't matter how far ahead you are. Something died. Yep, it was the Gravedigger. What if they increase tile stats by 3% every level based on both players' average phobia level? I think that gets really weird for ladder. It's really weird for ladder, where inevitably one player is going to be at a massive disadvantage compared to, right? Ooh, we get the Firkin on the Gonzo. That means Master Dark's gonna have a window with the... Or not. Never mind. Send in Bloat, can Gonzo, and Hevo 3.0 with no difficulty. Yep. We just need Bloat. Bloat is the savior we needed. Chat. This is a huge moment. Master Dark is going to have an opportunity to Akira here. Makes it very inconsistent. It makes levels even more important. I mean, that's also the problem. Like, if you... Which player do you base it on? The higher level player or the lower rank player? Lower stress level player? I don't think this is a valuable... Thanks. You're not killing anything of significance, even if you kill the Firkin, which you're not going to. They said average. So you're averaging them both together, or are you averaging each player's average phobia level? Even then, it still ends up weird because averages don't work the way that you need them to. So, for example, if one player dramatically outlevels the other, it's going to cause the average to shoot up, right? I guess you could look at it the other way and it drags it down. It's still going to end up in a weird spot. No matter what, lopsided towards the higher level. I mean, every game is anyway, inherently, because leveling exists. So I don't know how much of an impact it... Like, is it really worse than what we're doing now? I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Oh, no. Is there something here? You can go here. This ends up here. I don't think so. I don't think there's a... Is there a pole play here? This comes down. No matter... Like, the Hevo's never going to get 2 hits. Yoinks is still live for Master Dark. Like, this is dead. This will not die. I don't think this is worth it. I don't think this is worth it. Why no Gonzo? So you can set up the counterattack? If this Jin Sting went down, maybe? This is okay. I get why, because otherwise either of these can go on the stim. I don't think it's possible for the Hevo to die. It has 2,000 health. You get hit with 1, 2... No, you're gonna get hit with a lot. I think there's a play here where the Hevo does die. Oh, this tanks. I thought this had less health. I guess it doesn't matter. I don't think there's enough damage right now with this configuration to kill this Hevo. Okay, now there probably is. Bees! GG. The Hevo's gotta be dead now, right? 2 hits here. Jar. What is happening? I'm lost as to what is attacked now because of the undos. There has to be enough damage to kill this Hevo now, right? I think pushing with the Hevo was a mistake. Because now, like, there's... Well, you can hypothetically counter-kill this. These 2 kill this. This dies. But you gotta, like... These 3 are gonna be too much. Art HP? 2585. And 3200. Okay, there's a world in which A. Markin just heart pushes here. Like, this goes to the stem? And then this goes onto the spa? Is that enough damage? Because then... Well, no, this is down. You still got the Gonzo buff? Yes, you do. No, because the Gonzo had to attack twice. So you don't have the Gonzo buff this turn. Crush to the spa? Well, that was the other option. Like, crush to spa, and then Akira body blocks, or Akira deals with this. That's why I was thinking maybe crush to the stem, and then, like, Akira kills off these 2. Yeah, A. Morgan has the buff available, but like I said, they had to use both attacks to kill this. See, like, now I don't know that you can... You can't kill these. There's just no way. 3,000, 2585. Why we need the health bars to stay up so I can see what's at what. This is an enormous amount of HP. Like, I don't... This won't get in range. I don't think you can kill these in time. This is 800, 14, 1550. 2 turns of attacks is death. This is the correct play, but I don't know if the math works out. Oh no, Gonzo is live! Gonzo is live! That's another 600 damage. That's still not enough to kill it in this turn, though. Can A. Markin get 2100 damage in 2 turns? I don't think you do this now. I think this was an error. I think you walk the Gonzo up, then next... Oh, no, you wouldn't be in range. Never mind. Because you would go... You were here, so 1, 2... Yeah, you would be in range. Because the Gonzo could have walked up twice. Then next turn, you get 2 hits with the Akira. This is lethal. I don't think Master Dark has the damage. Oh my god, chat! What is this game? You can't... Chat, you can't make this up. What is this game? Oh my God! Chat, we're going to game 3. Here we go. Final game of the Fright Night 12 finals. Master Dark, A. Markand. Like and subscribe. Let's get it. We had an incredible first game that ended abruptly into a marathon game 2. And here we are in game 3 to decide who is going to be our champion. Both players have displayed some interesting tactics throughout the event, both the Swiss rounds as well as the top 8. We'll see what they have in store. What pocket strats do they have for this map? What if it ends in a draw? If we actually have a draw, like a legitimate draw here, then we have to regame in order to have a winner. That is one of the drawbacks of the bracket part of the system. And part of the reason why it would pose a challenge in a true bracket. So if we did Swiss instead of Swiss, if we did double limb, for example, as people have been asking about, and there is a draw, those players have to play again because you have to have a winner and a loser. Bracket-based systems cannot account for a draw. I mean, I could make rules of, like, you both lose, but I don't think anybody wants that. Because you can't have both players win, and you can't really have both players lose either, because one of them has to go to a different part in the bracket. With Swiss, you can have draws. Like, that is a viable thing that can happen. And then just the players draw, and you move on. And then a draw counts for some number of points as compared to a win and a loss. In the events that I participated in and the events that I run, it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss. And, of course, you are allowed to intentional draw throughout the Swiss rounds. So we're getting the somewhat standard plays out of both players. We're getting a slightly later break from a Markand, but a Terraform Phobie nonetheless. Master Dark banked to an early 10. Are we going to see the Akira this early? A Markand with a mere 5. So if it is the early Akira, A Markand does have some room to breathe, does have some opportunity and some time, because ultimately, even though you have Akira, if you don't have the follow-up, it doesn't really matter, right? So instead, we're going to get Giggles. Mangle's big brother, being all creepy-like, guarding the center panic point. Crush is pretty good here. Crushmore's solid on every map. Like, it's very hard to find a map where Crushmore is bad, right? It may be suboptimal, but I don't think there's really any maps where Crushmore is just like, yeah, it's actively bad here. I guess that depends on your definition of suboptimal and whether you consider anything that's suboptimal to just strictly be bad. Crushmore on Locker Room Funk. I could see that as a bad map. That's fair. That map with no obstacles. Is that Locker Room Funk? Even there are plays that can be made because you can create obstacles to cause problems for your opponent. It's certainly worse there than it is on other maps, but a valid point. You know what I'd like to see, chat? A map where there's centralized panic points, like towards the center of the map, and then around all of the panic points at a 2-space interval, you have not obstacles, but the poison and disease tiles, or lava for that matter. The reason being is that then it would deter ranged phobies from just lining up and shelling the panic points. Problem is that you could have 3 rangers, so maybe you do like a row of lava and then a row of disease / poison in vertical columns, or set it up so that it depends on where the vaults are, either north and south or east and west. That way, it might encourage more melee phobies. The problem is with the double lines there, that means that the melee phobies have to stand on those obstacles or those tiles before they advance, so it causes problems. Most of the times you need Gravedigger because it's cheaper, mostly on small maps. Yes, but that's a scenario where I think Gravedigger is better. Look at this. We're all the way back in the crowd. All the way back here, chat. How far can we get? I didn't know you could go that far. I didn't know you could go this far. This is, you didn't pay for tickets. This is, you're standing outside and, like, you have a box. At, like, a minor league game. But it would be interesting to have that map set up. I found this out yesterday. Did you zoom out that far? How far can we get up here? Can't go that far up here. This is interesting. Like, I never noticed this detail. That's the common share button. That's a link button. I didn't notice these details on here. What is on this one? I don't know what that is. It's obviously 3 people. It's probably for, like, Facebook or Instagram or something. Do we get the break in the south? Getting a push here onto Crushmore. With 12 keys, this thing could die. No, you can't, because it's only Snowball and Jar. Only Snowball and Jar can reach it. So not quite enough, but you do put a serious hurt on it. Like, the Crushmore can't stay. It has to full retreat. And there is the Akira. 15 keys for a Markand. I imagine we're going to see the Akira Birkin response. There's certainly enough keys to plop both on the board. The players think you're watching the game. Let's zoom out and off the map. Yep. Ooh, no fear here. Going to allow the Crushmore to be vulnerable. No spots or damage sticks. Yep. A Markand is not above using Clinico, however. We've seen A Markand utilize Clinico to great effect on a number of occasions. We're instead getting Akira Gonzo. Not unexpected. Not unreasonable. I'm a little surprised that A Markand didn't send the cat to the center panic point. You have double 1 keys, but this is obviously to prevent an Akira action by Master Dark. Notably, A Markand did not put Birkin on the board, probably because they were expecting, hey, you're going to get the first Akira. You got me. I don't think there's a great Akira pull here because Master Dark already burned the Terrorform. We get a second Terrorform here. Is this worth it? I don't think you have enough damage to really leverage that. It's a good thought. It's a good thought, but you're just not going to push enough. Does A Markand? Yes, there is a Terraform available, so any of these plays are going to get punished if Master Dark goes through with them. And now that the pressure is off, I think we're going to get a panic point flip in favor of A Markand. 8 keys available. Nope. Yes. Maybe. Make a decision. Running out of time. Almost out. Timer's ticking down. Oh, God. It's Klopster. Little rock lobster action. I love the teeth on Klopster. It's just so funny. Like this big shit-eating grin. It's just really funny to me. As mentioned, we get the Clinico. I managed to zoom out to a point I only had a black screen. So we get the center panic point claim. The question is, will Contortio go to claim the bottom point and go to a 4-1 panic point advantage? It would force the Klopster to, like, burn the burrow and push Master Dark to put another Phobie onto the board in order to clear the cat. Well, actually, wait, can Giggles one-shot it? No, Giggles can one-shot it, so never mind. Giggles can one-shot either of these. So we're getting the Contortio going in. Terraform is not available for Master Dark. It is available for A Markand, though, and this pocket positioning means that something could happen there. I'm not sure this gets you anything. Without Terraform, I feel like there isn't really a great yoink for Master Dark. Like, if Master Dark was able to break the obstacle, maybe? You can't kill the Crushmore, Ken. 15? This can't reach. This can reach. You can Gonzo. Like, that's an option. You lost interest in one of the Swiss games because it was staring at each other with Akira on the board. Akira has that effect. And that goes into, like, the Attractor discussion and all the others where I think there are interesting plays to be made, but I think a lot of games are going to devolve into staring matches. I do wonder if it just comes down to, as players get better, that will trail off. Because ultimately, when you get better at recognizing it, you can capitalize faster, but at the same time, the other player also is getting better and can be better at avoiding it. And ultimately, the best play is just kind of avoid each other a lot. That's part of the reason Monster of the Week does, in fact, ban Akira, as well as other Phobies. Is this... Bad things are going to happen? Maybe not. Can certainly get some takedowns here. Gonzo probably yields a dead Jin Sting. Question is, can you get Klopster as well? All right, that's a pick. We take those. But Gonzo Akira is still available for Master Dark, and this is probably... These two are dead, right? These two are probably dead. 9 keys. Are we going to see the follow-up Hevo to then try and punish? Yeah, the Firkin can't reach, and it wouldn't be able to do it this turn anyway. We're getting a Spider. I don't know. I'm not sure what Amarkin's thinking here. I don't hate the idea of the Hevo 3.0. But there's clearly a lot of debate going on with Amarkin for how they want to respond. It's going to be Bo Mangles. What I think they're thinking is they want to commit something, but they don't want to commit a lot of keys. And the question is, what can I commit to the board that allows me to accomplish both those tasks? And right now, I think, honestly, you might need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, they had set. That was the 7th Phobie, so you can't put a 1 key here in order to block. But I think there's a yoink here that's going to probably end up with some dead stuff. Yep. This is going to hurt. So the question is, did Amarkin anticipate this and allowed it to happen such that they can then counterattack? And I feel like they didn't, only because... Wait, what? Interesting. I feel like Amarkin did not prepare for this, because if they did, they would have put Hevo 3.0 on the board, I think. I think Hevo 3.0 would have been on the board. It could have been, like, here, in which case it gets pulled to here, and, like, there's no way that the Hevo dies. I just don't think there's a way Hevo 3.0 dies. However, that yoinks ultimately from Master Dark seems less than optimal. You can move the Gonzo, you can Hevo 3.0 here, you can Gonzo it, and you can just pulverize. It's going to be Klepto, same sort of thing. Still no Gonzo activation, though. Notably no Gonzo. We're going to punish the old-fashioned way. All right, we get the Gonzo here. It allows Bo to just go ham. Get the displacement, claim the panic point. Getting the Clinico out of there notably so that the Klepto can't just tee off. Why not 3.0 Akira Gonzo? This possibly result... Like, if the goal is to remove the Akira, this is probably better. But I think ultimately, because the Akira is on cooldown, you're better off going with the Hevo and splashing the damage, I think. But I understand the idea of, like, not wanting to full commit on one thing. Here you have Klepto and Inoculus. In that other scenario, you have Hevo and, like, some random 2-key. A little hydrate action. I'm doing okay on hydration at the moment, chat, but I do need some food in my belly. Stabby goes down. Taking Inoculus with it. More people with the hydrates. Little hydrate going. Everybody chiming in with hydrates. Make him go pee. Yeah, I think at this point, I think I'm out of water, chat. There's a decent amount of water left. I don't think you realize how much water I've been trying to drink to deal with these damn kidney stones. Like, this thing is like 3 or 4 bottles of water. And I've been drinking like 4 or 5 of these things a day. At this point, it's pretty much A. Markin's game to lose. I think it's GG. You're correct. Do a fuelage command for food. A little Electricat to close out the game. Panic point advantage. Phobie advantage. There's just not many options available for our blue player at this stage. Very well played. Very well played. A. Markin clawing it back after the debacle that was game 1. After the debacle that was game 1, Master Dark going out honorably, offering their team up to just close the game out. GG, well played. I think we can see where this is going, even if it may take a minute to actually fully resolve everything. I think A. Markin may actually be confused. And be like, wait, what is happening? A. Markin maybe paused for a moment and said, wait a second. Wait a minute. Big old AoE hits going down. And that's going to conclude our tournament, chat. Gonzo laying down the final beats. All game, A. Markin. Well played. Very well played, chat, by all of our players. As you can see, the bracket, which I'm going to pull down momentarily, right next to me. I didn't put up the other ones in between for the finals, but of course, Master Dark and A. Markin, as you can see now, A. Markin takes it down. Congratulations to our Fright Night 12 champion. Congratulations to all the players, and thank you for playing. This was a great event. Definitely a lot of fun. As mentioned before, I'm, of course, part of the content affiliate program. They give me coffee for doing this stuff, and they're putting up the prizes. Who's they? It's the official Phobies devs. But if you're interested in playing in some of these events, whether it's the higher stakes Fright Night or the more frequent Monster of the Week, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. The link for that, of course, is in the description, where the other links for the live stream where we were casting this live also exist. And of course, likes and subscribes do help. But that's going to do it for now, everybody. We'll be back tonight. We've got viewer games to look at. We'll probably be talking a little bit about Fright Night as well. But as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And tune in next time for more Random's Thoughts.